banging and Carey Annie.
Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Yo, welcome and happy Thursday. It's your boy Chris Avalon. And I muted myself. Anyway, take two in action. Okay. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, which we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, and hot topics. We might get a little political every now and again. So if that's a show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including the disaster that is TRON Aries in theaters. They said that the currency has run colder than Morbius' vampire blood. So we'll get into that. Plus, the Mattel exec says he's blown away by this early director's cut that he's seen of Masters in the Universe. Got my thoughts on that. Also got my thoughts on this original ending of Halloween Ends. There's this book that's coming out, I believe, about the 15th anniversary of Blumhouse, and they were spilling tea about there was a different ending that we were going to get in Halloween Ends. We'll get into that. Plus, Danity Kane, I should have known this was going to happen. After Diddy done got arrested, well, sentenced to, his 4 years and 2 months in the clink, Danity Kane has announced they're going on tour. So we'll get into that. Plus, Britney Spears, we got more tea regarding that mess. And Kevin Federline basically saying, well, the dancer that he said that was the female dancer that was messing around with Britney, she's spoken out. So I have her situation. Plus, he talking about that how he hit it on the first night with Britney, and is saying that Britney was out here doing booger sugar while she was breastfeeding them kids, or as Mariah would say, them babies. Now, speaking of them babies, and and I have a story on her regarding her brother, basically saying that Mariah was feeding intel to a YouTuber, a Mariah fan, to basically um destroy his character, whatever the hell you want to call it. Plus, Michael Jackson's daughter, apparently, according to the estate, because she is going back and forth with the estate, they said she received $65 million from the estate. So we'll get into that. Plus, Diandre Tristan, who was a former stylist of Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj was basically out here saying that Diandre is out here stealing. And I believe she was trying to say that he was using the Amex card, and you had Miss Big Back broad shoulders, that Dora Milaje reject, Tasha K, jumped in on the conversation. And apparently, Diandre has sent her ass a cease and desist. So we'll get into that. Plus, Tyler Perry is addressing these assault and harassment claims from Derek Dixon and said that, well, you would think that because he's so Mr. God or whatever, that he would have said he needs Jesus. Instead, he said he needs help. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got to talk about Charlie Sheen. Apparently, Charlie Sheen found himself a new love, and he shared the same genitalia as Charlie Sheen. So they saying Charlie Sheen found him a same-sex boo thing. So we'll get into them rumors. Plus, we got to talk about Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg shit faster than a goddamn politician. Apparently, after that mess that he done said about the homosexuals and Lightyear and that whole controversy, now he backpedaled and decided to include a same-sex couple in his new animated series. We'll get into that. And what else? Oh, we got to talk about Noah Schnapp. Now, y'all know I don't particularly care for him, but because of this topic, I was like, this might be interesting to talk about. So apparently, he's talking about that back when he was 13 years old, when he was on a press junket, they had press asking him if he was a homosexual, and he didn't know what to say. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got some drag race news. Apparently, we're getting an all Latina um, All Star season. So Roxy might be happy to hear this news. I'm happy about it, but I'm also a little irritated because the way they're going about it. Hold on, I'll just wait in when we get to that topic. And plus, Zaira, who y'all remember from one of the Drag Race spinoffs, she said that she has yet to get paid for performing at Manchester Pride. So we'll get into that and a whole lot more. So before we get to them topics, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Also, they just gave me the announcement earlier when I went and I logged into StreamYard because that's the software that I use to do the show. They said, oh, now they got a teleprompter that they add up in there. Funny enough, all this comes from up here. I don't even use a teleprompter. It's just I memorize what the thing I say, I freestyle, I switch it up, everything, flip it and reverse it. And I'm like, maybe one of these days when my brain starts to malfunction like the current president of the United States, I might decide to use a teleprompter. But right now, the dome is doing what the dome needs to do. So anyway, I see we got some comments already. I will get to the wait. Hold on. Let's see what the peoples are saying. Um, hello everyone. Why'd y'all be so quick to try to figure out what my schedule is? Hey peoples, how we doing? I like Tron. The post-credit scene was really a tribute to fans of the original. Well, we'll get into all of that. Jared Leto is not liked, and his acting is. Well, yeah, he wasn't the problem. Isn't that Espana All Stars already a thing? Well, we'll get to that when we get to it. And then Magical Mermaids in the building. Well, yeah, so I see a couple of y'all already in here. So now let's get into our first topic. Hold on, let me hit the banner. And without further ado, let's get to topic number one. And let's talk about Tron Ares, where y'all already know based off the numbers or whatever, Tron Ares is flopping at the box office. There's a lot of movies that's not doing really well right now. One always forget the name of that Leonardo DiCaprio movie. That's not doing well either. That I believe that movie cost him over $100 million. It's bombing. The Channing Tatum movie is not doing well, even though I heard it was good. Jennifer Lopez couldn't even break $1 million on that $30 million movie that she did. That movie brought in $800,000, which is just despicable. But then again, I don't necessarily think it's her fault because there was no promotion behind the movie. And why are y'all promoting the movie after the fact? Like I just saw her on Watch What Happens Live yesterday. She also did Howard Stern yesterday. And the movie's not doing so now they're really pushing. I'm like, shouldn't y'all have been doing that before? Also, with the Jennifer Lopez movie, y'all should have been doing more of the award, not award, the like you know when you go to the festivals and all the other stuff, New Fest is about to come up, or is it Outfest? Outfest, New Fest, Tribeca Film Festival. Y'all should be doing all of those. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, New Fest starts in November because I just saw something over there on Out Magazine where I think they were talking about that one of the queer festivals after they were kind of on hiatus for 2 years due to fund situations. They worked it on out and they supposed to be showing a 25th anniversary of the Broken Hearts Club, which I love that movie. That's the first time I ever encountered Billy Porter on the big screen. And that was before Dean Kane became who he is today. But nevertheless, I do like the movie. And I'm hearing good things about the Kiss of the Spider Woman. But nevertheless, when it comes down to the whole Tron thing, I didn't think Tron was bad. I remember one person saying that Tron Ares was better than Legacy. I'm like, you lost your damn mind. First of all, Legacy was way better. I didn't like the fact that with Ares, y'all pretty much just disregarded all the previous characters that were in previous movies. Y'all could have brought them back in some sort of way. Like, where was Sam? Where was Cora? We had Sam's father show up, but it was a little cameo, but that cameo was corny. And I understand you were trying to do like fan service, but it felt like it was just thrown in rather than a warranted scene. Like it didn't feel like it fit in. It just felt like y'all just threw that in there. So we go William Hurt. Ooh, the fans will probably come back, and y'all just try to make this whole thing about Jared Leto. But people need to realize is that Jared Leto is not A-list material. He's only, if I'm not mistaken, he's only been in 2 movies that grossed big numbers at the box office. I think one of them was Suicide Squad, and that was because he was a part of an ensemble. It wasn't even because he was in it. So, uh, and then I forget what the other movie was. It might have been Panic Room with what the hell's her name? With Jodie Foster and what's that girl name? Um, wait, hold on. Why are my pictures not showing up? Thank you. Like my photo's not showing up. Okay, now it's there. Um, what's that girl name from Twilight? Kristen Stewart. She was in that movie before people even knew who she was. Looking every bit of well, look, you had 2 lesbians in the damn movie, her and Jodie Foster. But nevertheless, um, Jared Leto is good in small doses. He's always kind of been an indie darling, but he was never like box office material. So yeah, so it also opened to mixed reviews. It was 54% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it underperformed, only making 33.2 million overseas. The Tron and Tron Legacy follow-up only managed to gross 27 million for a dismal 60.2 million worldwide start. Now I know a lot of people wonder why the movie flopped. First of all, I heard the budget is like $180 million. Jeff Snyder, according to him, he said this basically excuse me, is a vanity project for Disney. It's basically an ad because they opened up some ride or whatever at Disney World. So that's basically the reason why they made this movie. And it's like, well, if you're going to just do that, where it's like, oh, it's just some tax write-off, whatever, or just some movie we're going to spend 160 million closer to. I mean, if I'm thinking with the marketing, it's probably over $200 million, and y'all probably got to bring in at least 400 to 500 million to break even. The last one made 400 some odd $1 million, and they consider that a flop, which is why it took them 15 damn years to make another one, which I thought was ridiculous. So, and then also on top of that, I feel like with the conversations surrounding AI and everything now, Tron's kind of outdated with the not only with the visuals and everything, and it kind of felt like y'all were pandering to a lot of what existed before. Oh, let's do like really cool, flashy special effects. And to me, Tron Legacy was. I think people like that because it was before the technology was just a step above what we got now. When you look at this movie, it kind of looks like it's stuff that you could have just put in any old movie at any old time. Like there's nothing new, creative, interesting, and inventive in this new movie. The soundtrack, of course, is good. Not as good as Daft Punk, but for the most part, I am a Nine Inch Nails fan. Trent Reznor is like one of my favorite performers and artists. So we knew we was gonna get a banger of a soundtrack, but does it hold up as high as do I put it on a high pedestal like Tron Legacy and Daft Punk? No, I just felt like Daft Punk gave us something completely otherworldly with that soundtrack. With this one, it does feel a little bit like they tapped into what Daft Punk was doing, was trying to give more that hard industrial type of sound to it. It feels like when you listen to it, it's like a Nine Inch Nails record rather than a soundtrack for Tron Ares. So also, they said, yeah, the movie is already in flop territory thanks to a production budget, as we talked, of 180 million. The so B plus cinema score suggests that Tron Ares won't find an audience in the weeks ahead. So yeah, it's gonna die in the weeds at the box office. And then plus we got Black Phone 2 coming out in I think it's out already because it's Thursday night. I'm gonna go see it tomorrow. So that's out already, and I'm sure that's probably gonna do relatively well at the box office. And now they said, according to the trade, that will be sffgazette.com and, well, the Hollywood Reporter via sffgazette.com. Sources say Trump will likely retire from the big screen with the blame placed at the feet of the IP and to a lesser extent, lead star Jared Leto. Now, alarmed Disney execs have no idea whether other accusations might emerge after allegations. Oh, yeah, we forgot about those. The sexual misconduct allegations that came out earlier this year and were relieved when nothing did. Leto was described as having been a consummate professional during the press tour and scored seven figures for his on-screen role and an additional seven figures for producing. So he could retire and not make another movie. He's got enough money that he could live on. But the fact of the matter is, you're not leading man material. Nobody wants to see you. You can't break a movie. I was gonna say like Dwayne Johnson, but at this point, Dwayne Johnson could barely break a movie because a lot of people just ain't been supporting what he was doing. Black Adam, y'all didn't care about that. A couple of the other movies he wasn't doing unless it's an IP that was already established. That was the only way that Dwayne Johnson's really breaking hits. And then on top of that, you have the Smashing Machine, another flop. So yeah, it seems like a lot of the veterans aren't really doing well. Maybe what he needs to do is a Hobbs and Shaw sequel, since Jason Statham's the only one out here that really knows how to make a really an action movie, plays the same character over and over and over again, and his movies do relatively well. And I think that's because his movies are not expensive. He's not producing 150 million, $200 million budgeted movies. What he's doing is his budgets be like 30, 25, 30, $40 million the max. And like the Beekeeper was a small budgeted movie. That movie brought in almost $200 million at the box office. So he's not spending a crap ton of money like a lot of these people who clearly think that bigger is better. And it's not. Deader is better. If you know, you know, Pet Cemetery joke. Anyway, so then he also said Leto is said to have pushed to lead his own Tron movie. Well, why would Disney comply with that if they know that his record shows that he's not a good opener? I mean, Morbius did terrible. Who did he fillet in that on that Disney lot that they would just be like, okay, let Jared Leto open a damn movie? I mean, yeah, he's pretty to look at, and he definitely looks like he's definitely a vampire because at 53 years old, he still looks like he's in his late 30s, early 40s. But at the end of the day, you don't sell tickets. You're not getting butts in seats. So you're not going to get paid as a top star moving forward. So I feel like at this point, Hollywood is kind of it clicked, and I think because we're in kind of like a in between type of situation where people are just like, well, Hollywood's like, okay, we gotta stop doing the whole putting too much money behind a lot of these movies because these movies post pandemic, people are not running to the theaters like they used to. No shade, but I'm kind of happy that a lot of people don't do that because for me, I don't have to deal with the BS of a lot of people, a lot of y'all who have no kind of home training when y'all go to the damn movies. So I don't mind that the theaters ain't that crowded. But on the other hand, from a business standpoint, I do feel bad because a lot of theaters aren't really making that money. That's why I saw this article. I saw the article. There was a CBS, I think, did a segment on it where they were talking about independent movie theaters. They were talking about Kevin Smith, who did Clerks and those those independent films. He actually opened up a movie theater and how he's been able to keep that business afloat. It's a nonprofit, and then a bunch of others where they had Vidiots and play. Funny enough, I went when I was at VH1. I would always have to go to a place called Vidiots to pick up like videos and things of that nature. It's not the same thing, but Vidiot's is, I believe, a video store. I think it's in LA where they sell a lot of hard to find, well, they sell videotapes and hard to find stuff. So a lot of people who love that nostalgia get to do that. So I think like movie theaters need to find ways, like a lot of these independent places, to get butts in seats, events, and all that other stuff. Holding screenings and Q&As and doing interesting things like that to get butts in seats. And I do see like they and like the big chains, they do like the Fathom events where they want to show, oh, it's the 20th or the 30th anniversary of Scream, or we're gonna show the whole bloody affair, which is basically both Kill Bill movies in one film. Well, that's supposed to be coming out in December. I'm gonna go see that. Or they'll do events like the Depeche Mode movie that they have coming out in IMAX. I'm pissed off because my A-list doesn't cover that. So they want me to pay full price to see that movie. Contemplating it. There's a lot of seats still available for that showtime, but um I think they got to find ways to get people to come out to the movies instead of because I tell you now I feel like people are at a place where it's events. They need to feel like there's a reason why I need to be in a room with people who have different political beliefs, different genders, different sexual orientations, different mindsets or whatever, that I could be in those rooms and we're all there for a common goal, and that's to just enjoy this movie that we're watching. So they need to be doing that. And I feel like with Tron and everything, y'all waited way too damn long to come out with a sequel. None of the characters in the film are interesting. Nobody knows who anybody is in this movie. So why should people who loved Legacy and the original Tron, which is like 40 plus years old, why should people give a damn to come to the movies to see it? So what else are they going to say? Oh, they said, so in a world where Michael Fassbender, Ewan McGregor, and Benedict Cumberbatch are having a hard time getting lead roles, why would you go to a person who can't open a movie and who has question marks around him as a person? This is what one top talent manager partner had to say. The trade adds, with Aries flopping, the insider says Leto's currency in town has run colder than Morbius's vampire blood. To be clear, the flame out of Tron isn't Leto's burden alone, which is true, because to be honest, to give him credit, he's the least problematic thing with this movie. The movie's problem is that script is terrible. The script is thinner than Trump's hairline. So I don't understand why people are sitting. Well, when you watch the movie, Jared Leto is his character to me seems like it's fully fleshed out. There's a whole arc that he goes through. Kind of wish they would have thought about, besides Ares, doing that with everybody else's character that was in there, have them go through peaks and valleys and have them go through a whole arc. But everybody else in the movie is hollow. No, like there's nothing really for them to do. They're all wasted on screen. The lines that are delivered are wooden. The comedy relief was annoying instead of being funny. So um, you might as well let put for the comedy relief. You could have had somebody if y'all really wanted to be even more annoying. You could have just had Pete Davidson in the movie, which I don't know why he keeps getting acting roles, and or Andrew Schulz, who's about to be in what's that movie Street Fighter, which I don't know who thought of that, but whatever. So yeah, it's not entirely his fault, I would say, that the movie bombed. The franchise, to be honest, has never been a big box office hit. It's always had sort of a cult following. So if you're going to make something like Tron, you could do some groundbreaking special effects, but you don't go and spend a shit ton of money, especially when this time where it's so easy to get creative with technology. I don't know why it's so expensive for them to come up with these budgets when it comes to special effects when if you're doing things from a computer it should not cost hundreds of millions of dollars to do like effect shots. I don't know what that whole situation is with the money. So um I will say this, and we're about to get into talking about Masters in the Universe after this. So funny enough, Masters in the Universe, which the head of Mattel is saying he loves the cut, the movie looks great, he's excited for people to see. Well, the director's cut so far, he's raving about it. But the problem is Jared Leto's in it. He's playing Skeletor. So yes, he's not the lead, he's playing the villain. I don't know if he's gonna be as good as Frank Langella. We shouldn't compare the roles or whatever because we kind of did that when he played the Joker, and everybody's it's hard for everybody to surpass their thoughts on when we had Heath Ledger, which a lot of people weren't really for Heath Ledger when he became the Joker, but ever since they saw their performance, now everybody done tucked their tail between their legs and had to realize that yeah, he ate with that role. And now then you had Jared Leto come in, and that's big shoes to fill after that because he did such a great job that it was just like. But then again, the movie when he was as the Joker in the Suicide Squad and all that stuff, it just wasn't good. But and the movie wasn't good. So I don't know if that was necessarily his fault either. Even though the movie made a whole lot of money, it still was trash. But when it comes down to Master Universe, it's getting all these rave reviews, like I said, according to the head of Mattel. We'll have to see if I'll see it I'll believe it when I see it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But hopefully that doesn't flop because Master Universe is my childhood. Like I told you, I had all the He-Man toys and all the other stuff. So I hope that doesn't suck. And I hope that movie doesn't flop. So um yeah, and it's funny enough, they said this, they mentioned in the article what I was saying before. They said, well, I mean, what I mentioned before. They said, as for Tron, the property has a big presence in a couple of Disney theme parks, so the House of Mouse may turn to streaming to restore the grid. Well, to speak on that, I honestly think what they should do, Tron seems like it is better suited for television. Do like a 10 episode series. Maybe you could see if you could bring Garrett Hedlund back. I don't even know if he might be available because here's the thing. I know he was on that show. Oh my God, I totally forgot the name of it. The one with Sylvester Stallone that's currently airing their third season. I don't know if he's still a part of that show because I haven't seen the show since I only watched the first season. I haven't even caught up on season two. So I don't know if he's still a part of that series. And so he was on that. But I don't know if y'all want to find a way to bring him and Sam Flynn and Cora and that whole thing to come back on that show, or if you want to come up with something different, because I like the animated series that was on Disney. So and I hated when they canceled that. So maybe they need to focus on going back into maybe getting that IP up on a smaller scale versus the theater, because people are not going to the movies to see Tron Ares. I would not be surprised. Today is the 16th, right? By November 1st, Tron Ares will be on the streaming services for y'all to rent on Prime Video, or y'all might be wanting to watch it on Disney Plus. They're gonna rush that to for y'all to see it because unfortunately we didn't do that all that well. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Did you check out Tron Ares? Do you agree with this article, what they were saying on why the movie didn't do all that well? Because I wholeheartedly believe it's like, yeah, nobody really wants to see Jared Leto lead a film. I just think that, and then also, the things that he would do behind the scenes, where they say he would put rats in people's dressing rooms and do all that prank stuff that first of all, you do like I told you, you do something like that with me, especially when I come from New York City where we got a lot of rats. I mean, I haven't been seeing them lately, but unless you in the you see them on the train tracks, whatever. But out in the streets, I haven't really been seeing them like that. I heard they've been doing something where they managed to get rid of them rats out in the street, but nevertheless, probably some pesticides or whatever. But nevertheless, it's like if you did something like that, and that's a trigger for me, born and raised in New York. Oh, I'm punching you in your face. You're gonna have to file a lawsuit or something because what you're not going to do is do that foolishness and think that shit is funny, and then yo dumb ass gonna get away with it. I'm kicking you right in the dick. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, let me see what the people say. There's a lot of y'all comments in here. You said they could do another movie, but get a different actor to play the main character. I mean, they could have been did that. I mean, if you couldn't get Garrett Hedlund to come back, you could have recast the role of Sam Flynn. I don't know who you could have picked. I mean, well, Sam Flynn, he was like in his early 20s, like 14. So you would have to pick somebody like in his mid 30s, whatever the case was. You could have picked somebody new to come in and you could have recast the role. I don't know why they didn't think to do that. Or maybe what it was that Jared Leto coming on board, he wanted to make this a thing for him, and he didn't care about all the other actors in the movie. So he's like, oh, this is gonna be my little tentpole. I'm a fan of Tron, so I'm gonna make this all about me. You can't open a film though. So all that ego for why? Yeah, that's true. I mean, groceries have gone up. The other day, I went to go get a salad from the deli, like right up the street from where my gym is. Right after the gym, I was like, let me go get a salad. I saw a sign right next to when I was gonna go order my stuff. They talk about the price of eggs went up. So, I think like due to whatever, the price of eggs is going up. I think like an extra dollar and some change. So I'm sitting there like. So y'all voted for this man because the price of eggs, y'all was expecting it to go down. Now why am I reading a sign in a deli talking about the price of eggs is going up? And especially y'all haven't realized for the past 2 weeks, the government has been shut down. So while this idiot is making deals with, giving money to Venezuela and talking about fake ceasefires, while we're still bombing Palestine and you talking about there's a ceasefire. And of course, the mainstream media is not talking about this. I did see like one of my friends, Caleb, did write something on the View page, and Alyssa Farrah Griffin liked it. I was like, ooh, she be reading, and she be in the comments reading what we're saying, not reading as in like got clapbacks. I enjoy you like more. I'm gonna pray for you. Athena was wasted. I mean, I like Jodie Turner Smith. She is still my choice to play Storm. However, I felt like she was wasted in that movie. Like I really wanted that villainous side to come out, but I just felt like the weakness of the script, they didn't really go there with her. Because I really feel it. And then also there was an editing choice. I mean, with the sound that irritated me. When she was in the parking garage and she was running up the little spinning thing to come after the Asian chick, why did her feet sound I was like, what is that? That sound was a choice. So it said the tariffs are finally hitting grocery prices. He said if Hollywood has been using AI, it's been showing on top of streaming entertainment. Well, yeah, they've been using some AI and the people getting pissed off about it. I've already said I don't have no issue with AI. If you want to use AI to enhance with certain things, like with me, I use AI every now and again, especially like if I'm on my website and I need if I'm posting articles to different websites, I use AI to come up with stuff. But then I go in, I'm like, okay, that don't sound right. I don't like what they wrote. So I'll go in and I'll change stuff to make it sound more like me. But you use AI every now and again to kind of help you out with certain things. But I don't use it to abuse it. And I feel like when people abuse artificial intelligence, that's when it becomes a problem. Or you want to use artificial intelligence, but they're going to start doing, especially with those entry level jobs in Hollywood. A lot of people are going to start being out of work because they're going to be using AI for those entry level jobs, among other, and just entry level jobs in general. Jared wouldn't be getting these parts if he didn't have an. First of all, Didn't Matthew McConaughey also win an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Quiet as It's Kept? Neither one of them should have got an Oscar for that damn movie. I liked him in My So-Called Life. I also liked him in Urban Legend. Y'all know Urban Legend is one of my favorite horror movies. They are supposed to be remaking it, and I liked him in that film. That's what I said. I liked Athena. She, I love Jodie Turner Smith. Isn't that Joshua Jackson's baby mama too? They was married. I remember when Aaliyah said she wanted to record with Nine Inch. I do remember that too. That would have been a good sound, especially because she worked with Timbaland and stuff like that. If she would have worked with not if she would have did 9 Inch Nails, oh, that would have been epic. Seeing like a black girl who does R&B kind of bring more of that industrial futuristic sound to what she was doing, because she definitely changed the game in regards of like what she was doing with R&B, pop, and that sort of thing. Arnold Schwarzenegger, and well, I do like him in Kindergarten Cop. That is one of my favorite movies from him. That and Twins was funny too. I thought they was talking about making a sequel. Please don't. Leave Twins where it is. Okay. He said he gonna see it on Sunday night. I gotta rewatch the first one tonight before I go tomorrow. Do another Morbius movie. Nobody's gonna see that. Nobody's gonna see Morbius. That movie bombed so bad. And then I think because it started doing better on streaming, they released a different cut of it in the theaters or something or another. I ain't like none of them Jumanjis with Dwayne and that midget that went over there to that did the Riyadh festival, whatever the case, the comedy festival. He would have been good for under. Yeah, I need them to bring Underworld back. That's what I need. I need another Underworld movie with Celine. Kate Beckinsale's still around. I mean, she look a little different because she keep tweaking with her face. But other than that, I would love another Underworld movie. The original Willy Wonka movie was a total box office bomb, but most people don't know that. I love the original Willy Wonka. Well, that was before my time, but I do remember when I was growing up, I did see it like years later. I think which one? I think the remake probably did well too, right? When Johnny Depp was basically playing Michael Jackson. I don't know why they waited 50. That's what I said. Because the funny enough, they were planning on fast tracking a sequel. The problem was they said, "Oh, the movie didn't make as much as Disney had hoped, so that's why they scrapped it." And then they waited a decade and a half later. Like that's just dumb. It's like if it wasn't, even if it wasn't what you thought it would make, I would have at least waited a good 5 years, not 15. What you talking about? The Naked Gun wasn't funny. You said Joaquin Phoenix was good as the Joker, but I only like the first. Nobody liked Foley. I do. Not me judging his cult followers because Jared Leto is not hot enough to. y'all don't think. Y'all don't think that Jared Leto is attractive? Thank you. It was Tulsa King. I don't know why I can remember. I heard Samuel L. Jackson's on the new season, so I got to catch up. Even though I know Sylvester Stallone is a damn Trump supporter, I can't be letting that be the reason why I can't be watching stuff. I'll just have to ignore that while I watch the show. And that's because, Sylvester Stallone been around for, forever. And I've always liked his movies before I knew his politics. So I like Evan Peters and Gillian Anderson was wasted in that damn movie. Evan Peters to me gave typical, stereotypical um corporate oligarch. Like it literally is like I said, if you want to see a better version of what Evan Peters did, not like Evan Peters, but if you want to see a better version of what the character Evan Peters was playing, you could just basically watch Alien Earth. That guy with them big old hobbit feet that was in that movie, because he had some big ass feet. I mean, in that show, he was definitely giving like full Elon slash Mark Zuckerberg, tease with that. Hmm. Metropolitan areas, which is what I live in. Plus, because earlier I was literally saying, I'm like, why is everything so goddamn expensive? I went and bought a 2 pack of toothpaste. I went and bought body wash, and I bought hair gel. How that shit cost me $30? 3 items, $30. I'm like, what the hell? He said, plus, also look at everything is going on in the world. Going to the theater is not that important to some people. I do feel bad that movie theaters aren't making money like they used to. Well, that's why movie theaters got to be real careful with the type of content they put out. And yeah, everything is so expensive between the tickets, and luckily, I don't have any family members or whatever that I go to the movies with. It's just me. Or kids or whatever. But can you imagine like one ticket is like $17? I mean, me doing the 4 movies a month with A-list, that cost me $27 a month. So, and that's just one person. I don't even know how much it will cost. Like, do they have like do everybody have to get their own individual A-list in order to get a ticket, or whatever the case was? Or can you imagine like how much money you're spending for yourself, and then maybe 2 or 3 other people, where it's like adults, or the kid price, or the senior price, and then concessions, like for one person, a drink and like chicken tenders and fries. That'll run you damn near $30. So I'm paying $17 for a movie ticket, and then $30 for concessions. Why do you think? Well, my grandmother taught me this, that basically you just sneak stuff in your purse, and during the movie, you just give the candy out or the chips or whatever the case was, and we just do that. Exactly, like you said. I think it might be on a Shutter. Cause that's what it was before, but I own it, so, like I said, I still haven't seen the original Tron, but I did see the series Tron Uprising. Yeah, Tron Uprising was good. Funny enough, all of that is on Disney Plus if you have it. So the original Tron, I think they digitally remastered it, so it does look a little. It still looks outdated with the technology because it came out in '82. But at the same time, it's like, and I was seeing like little clips and stuff because I've been watching a lot of why Tron Ares flopped at the box office videos. I did go down a bit of a Tron Ares flopping rabbit hole once that movie came out, and everybody's been doing little discourses on it. So yeah, they got all the Tron stuff on Disney Plus. I haven't gotten around to watching it. I'm kind of curious, but I think what's caused me to be hesitant and wanting to watch it is because based off of the way technology is now, I'm kind of looking at it like, it's a little outdated for my taste. I don't know if I want to sit through 1982 tech when I'm in 2025 tech. So I don't know. So that's kind of like the only thing that's got it in my mind that I'm like, that's going to take me out of the situation. Yeah, that midget that I'm talking about, Kevin Hart. There's a Tron section in Kingdom Hearts. Is that we are going to see a lot more remakes with IPs that already made money. Well, yeah, because that's the safest thing to do. And I know a lot of people keep saying, well, y'all don't make original content. Nobody's making original content. And it's like, yeah, they're making original content, but nobody's going to see the original content. And I think maybe it's because a lot of the movies, um, maybe the movies that the original content is coming out, people just don't feel like it's worth running to the movies to see. Like that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. Nobody's running to the movies to see that. It didn't do all that well. The movie with Channing Tatum hiding up in the Toys R Us, and which is based on a true story. Yeah, it's getting great reviews, but nobody's going to the movies to see it. Kiss of the Spider Woman. Nobody went to the movies to see it. Not even the gays went to go see that one. And that's a musical. And there's so many movies that's been coming out, and maybe it's I don't know what it is. It's just like we were saying, it's a rough time. A lot of people just don't be having a lot of money to just be going to the movies every week. So people got to take that into consideration. This shitty ass economy, and then on top of that, these corporations cooking themselves to this moronic president, and y'all wondering why y'all are losing money. Well, I was close enough. You said he's 53. I said 52. They are competing with 60-inch TV. That's another thing too, and that's what I said. I was like, and I know, so as somebody who grew up going to the movies and drive-ins and all that other stuff, even though they were kind of played out when I was growing up, but I did, for the nostalgia's sake, because they were big in the 50s, I got to go to those situations. But yeah, the TVs have even gotten better. When you got like a 60-inch TV with 4K, and everything looks so crisp, and then they got the sound bars, and you can just create your own theater in your house. And then on top of that, the studios, y'all haven't really been doing any favors because y'all drop movies on streaming services to rent at home 25 to 30 days into the movie coming out. So what's the point of me running to the movies? I told you the only time I will go to the movies is like if it's an event type situation. Like, yeah, I definitely want to go see Black Phone. That's why I'm going to go see it. Tron was coming out. I was like, let me go see that. Um, there's certain event films that I'm like, yeah, I want to go to. When Predator Badlands comes out, I'm gonna run to the movies and see that. I don't want to wait a month or a month and a half, whenever it's going to come out. So, and then you could just rent it at home for what? Or for $20, or you could buy it for 25, and then you can invite a bunch of people over and you can make it an event at your own house. So it's like people are doing that now. I mean, I do feel the vibe of like, yeah, I want to be in a room with a bunch of people and that sense of community. I get that. But also it hasn't really helped that a lot of people have moved the movie going experience. Well, damn, maybe I need to change the Regal. You said 22 a month, and you can see as many movies as you want for the month. I don't like the fact that why is AMC doing where it's like, oh, you could only get 4 movies, but Regal's like you could do whatever. And you want to know something? No shade, but Regal is a much better theater. Because I in the city, I go to the one on 14th Street in Union Square, and I like going to that theater. That was where I first saw that last Thor movie, which was not good. But I saw them like, damn, I forgot what that um the tech is, but it's like you have like the projection, it goes on the entire, it goes on the walls and stuff. So I tried that for once for that experience, never again. But I'll have to wait for when a good movie comes out to have that experience because I saw it with the last Thor movie. But I like their theater and they got a nice bar and stuff up in there and everything, even though some of the AMC's do have a bar. But Regal, I had a much better experience. And plus, the way that AMC did me dirty, I shouldn't be giving them no damn money. But I think it's more convenient to get to an AMC than it is a Regal. So who knows? If I now that you tell me that, I might reconsider. Cancel my A list and basically for $21 I can go and see whatever I want. And they don't do anything where it's like where it's like, oh, with certain films, you gotta pay that full price. Like they did, like I want to see the Depeche Mode film, and they want me to pay the full IMAX price. You know, and that's another thing. The tech ain't living up to the expectation of what you charging. Yeah, that's another thing too. Disney done lost their damn mind, and now they raising the price on their streaming service, and I'm like, for why? Y'all don't have nothing on Disney Plus worth paying for, but you gonna raise the price again? Well, you said Disney. Oh, you talking about the theme parks? When I went, I never stayed on property. I used to be able to go for less than $1,000 for 5 days. Stayed in a Motel 6 or Super 8 for like 350 the rest of the park. They destroy music artists' bags with streaming theaters only alive because people want to get out of the house. That's another thing too. It's like, yeah, I want to get out of the house when it comes to that too. So that's a lot of the reasons why I want to go to the movies. It's like I want to be cooped up in the house. If I don't need to be, people care more about the story of the film. That's another thing too. I feel like the days of movie stars are over. People don't care about big movie stars like the way we valued them back in the day. And it could be due to social media because pre before the internet became as big as it did, I feel like we valued movie stars, the Marilyn Monroes and the Humphrey Bogarts and the Jennifer Lopez's, which she definitely thrived herself on being that movie star type, the Brad Pitts and all of them. Now it's like people don't care. It's a plus if you could lead a movie or whatever the case is, but I think people care more about what's the story about? Why should I care about these people that's in this film? So there's that emotional connection people want to have with who they see on screen. And if you're not giving them that, then they're not going to support the film. So I do think the movie star is dead. Look, Tom Cruise can't even get butts in seats like he used to. And that's another thing too. All these damn streaming services, because y'all want to be greedy when all of y'all don't need a damn streaming service. Disney do not need a streaming service, especially when y'all went and bought up Hulu. Um, who else don't need a streaming service? Paramount, y'all damn sure don't need no streaming service. All these movie studios, the only one that was smart was Sony. Sony just outsources their stuff and get a profit from that. And yeah, these damn streaming services, they about to become more expensive than cable. Everybody talking about Trump and Kingdom Hearts. I gotta hurry up and get through these because we didn't even get to our second topic yet. Last time I went to Disney parking was chill. Look, you talking about that's expensive. Like I be hearing people talking about like when I was working at City Field, how the parking was so damn expensive. I'm starting to know it's like all the things I like you don't like, so there's no requirement for taste. Who's that? You said Ace Frehley. I don't know who that is. An American musician. Um, oh, he's from Kiss. Well, first of all, who would know who that? Well, I guess look, I would have never recognized him with all that damn makeup on. So yeah, he's from Kiss, and he was 74 years old. They say he was born in the Bronx. His birthday is April 27. Well, R.I.P. So we got a DDA, not a DDD. All right, y'all. So now let's move on to the next topic. And since we was talking about Jared Leto and Masters of the Universe, his next movie that we hoping and praying don't be a damn flop. Let's get into Masters of the Universe. So the Mattel exec, or one of them, because I'm sure they have more than one, Robbie Brenner, is going around hyping up this new He-Man movie, and basically said that he saw a recent screening and he is loving what he's seeing so far. And so Mattel has set out to bring many of its most famous franchises to theaters, a move that's not overly surprising after Barbie became an immediate critical and commercial success in 2023, grossing over 1.4 billion at the worldwide box office. Next up for the company is Amazon MGM's live action Masters of the Universe movie. The Hollywood Reporter via Tornado.com recently spoke with Robbie Brenner, president of Mattel Studios and chief content officer, who reflected on his experience visiting the reboot's set. So he got to go to the set, which I guess is cool. And he basically said, I went to visit the set last year, and out of all the movies that I worked on in my entire life, even Barbie, it was the biggest. It was massive. I think we took over 2 or 3 sound stages. This was on 8 backlots. Characters walking around that are 8 feet tall. There are these crazy characters in the movie. Now, Brenner has even seen an early director's cut of Masters of the Universe and says she was blown away by the experience, calling it a perfect compliment to Barbie. The executive hailed it as so much fun and said it feels so different. Hasbro has proved that turning toys into blockbuster franchises could bring mixed fortunes. The mixed fortunes of the Transformers and G.I. Joe franchises are proof of that, with the former going from a 1 billion property to one that Paramount Pictures has reportedly gone back to the drawing board with. Well, yeah, they can't seem to figure out how to make G.I. Joe work. And I feel like if y'all kind of go in a place of like make it military, but also make it a fun action movie, then y'all can pretty much do that. I just feel like the other G.I. Joe movies felt a little too cartoonish for me. That's why I didn't get into it. And then, yeah, then they brought in Dwayne Johnson in the sequel and try to spruce it up a little bit. But apparently it didn't seem like it was enough for the franchise to continue. And then remember after the last what was it, Rise of the Beast or Transformers, they hinted at a possible Transformers GI Joe crossover film. That hasn't transpired, and I think it's because the last Transformers movie didn't do all that well. I mean, I had a good time with the movie. It wasn't the greatest, but yeah, they basically said that's where they were going to go, and it just didn't happen. So now they said now with Mattel Studios having television and film sit under one umbrella and one ecosystem, there are endless possibilities. If Masters of the Universe is a hit, then the possibilities could be endless with a world of Eternia, both in terms of sequels and spin-offs. However, if Tron Ares is any indication, Jared Leto's status as box office poison following Morbius means Mattel might be wise not to market too much of this movie around the Suicide Squad star. Well, here's the thing. If the movie is about Masters of the Universe, you push out Nicholas Galitzine, who's about to start shooting Red, White, and Royal Wedding, which is a sequel to that Red, White, and Royal Blue movie that was a huge hit on Amazon Prime. So that's what you do. You market the actor who's going to be playing Superman, who's going to be playing He-Man. And yeah, you can have Jared Leto up in there doing promotions or whatever the case was. But yeah, Jared Leto was not the star. Jared Leto is playing your antagonist. He's basically playing the villain. He's playing Skeletor. So that's who you go and you put out there to, well, I don't know if you want to, like we said, hype him up as to be the person to come out because like y'all said, y'all think that people don't particularly care for Jared Leto. But if you make it more about Master in the Universe and it's an ensemble situation, then that's what you do. And Travis Knight, who I absolutely love, he directed Bumblebee, which was, speaking of Transformers, that was a good one. And I kind of wish they would have followed up on that. Because finally, after years and years and years of trashy ass Transformers movies, especially the ones with Mark Wahlberg that I absolutely hated. We got one with who was that? That was and it was a Shailene Woodley that was in Bumblebee. I like Bumblebee. It had a heart to it, and I feel like that's why I'm really excited for this movie because Travis Knight is somebody like yeah he could take an IP that on the surface level can be pretty cheesy, but also he can bring a little heart and fun to it and make you care about the characters. So I'm feeling like that's kind of the energy that he's going to bring with this. And then talking about how massive this movie is, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how massive this film is because what else do we have to go on about Master of the Universe besides the movie with Dolph Lundgren? So of course somebody at Mattel is saying, "Oh, yeah, this movie is massive. It looks amazing. It's the best movie that I've ever worked on, or whatever the case." I mean, of course, what the hell else are they gonna say? Because they're working on it. So they're gonna toot their own horn and hype up something that they're behind. So we could take that with a grain of salt. I'm hoping that this movie doesn't suck because, as I said before, as someone who grew up on He-Man, who had all the action figures, who owned a Castle Grayskull and and a Snake Mountain, having those toys as a kid, that's like nostalgia for me. So I really want to see like the fantasies that I created in my mind with my action figures as a kid growing up as in the 80s and 90s to come to life on the big screen to kind of have that nostalgia feel about it. I'm really hoping that this movie doesn't suck. So I'm feeling like I'm gonna just reserve my opinion until we see a trailer. So when the trailer comes out, then I'll be like all excited about it. But anyway, so um who else is in the cast? Allison Brie is playing Evil Lynn, who would be Skeletor's lieutenant. I like Allison Brie. She was in that movie together with her husband, not James Franco, the brother. I almost said Devin Franco. Devin Franco does gay porn. Um, James' brother. Then damn done drew a freaking blank with my fuck. I can't even talk now. So yeah, so she's in it. Also, she was in Scream 4. Then we have Camila Mendez as Tila. Idris Elba is playing Tila's father, man at arms. I know they probably gonna be like, hi, black man got a white child, whatever. But look, how did I was gonna say how did and they didn't even give an explanation for that for the Lost World Jurassic Park. How did Jeff Goldblum have a black child? It happens. So, and also we have Sam C. Wilson from House of the Dragon as Trapjaw, Kojo Lataf and the Beekeeper as Triclops, Hafnor Bjornsson from Game of Thrones as Goatman, Morena Baccarin, who is and who could well, I don't think it's come out yet. I think it comes out tomorrow. She's doing a spin-off of Fire Country called Sheriff Country. I wonder, is she still with Benjamin McKenzie? Because I know they had a kid together. Anyway, she's playing the sorceress. Johannes Hakor Johansson from Vikings is Fisto, and Shu Zhang as Ram Man. So the movie comes out June 5th of 2026. I'm sure that they're ramping up a trailer soon. I mean, it's June when it comes out, but they've done teasers 6 months early or whatever the case was. So I'm thinking like maybe around Avatar time or whatever, we could possibly be getting a trailer. I hope we will, because I'm looking forward to seeing what they've come up with this. And I know there was some people complaining saying that uh, Nicholas looks a little too small to be playing He-Man. I don't want some dude to be all jacked up like on HGH or steroids. But like we don't need to be Thor ginormous or Dwayne Johnson massive. Like if he looks enough that like he's hit the gym and he's got the body or whatever to play the character, then I don't care. Like he's not like ginormous. Or we'll just have to see what post once he gets the sword and I have the power and does all the He-Man stuff if he will be ginormous. But for now, I'll just take their word for that this movie is great. I'll just reserve my opinion to when the movie comes out or we see a trailer. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the Mattel exec saying that they were blown away by the early director's cut of Masters of the Universe? I mean, I didn't, with Travis Knight being a part of it, I had my fingers crossed and I didn't have any doubts that the movie's going to suck because Travis Knight is really good at taking an IP that on the surface would be kind of corny and having people actually give a damn about the people in the film or the characters the characters that are in the movie that he's directing. So I'm looking forward to seeing this film when it comes out. I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what you think of this story in the comments down below. I said I will blame all the clown makeup, not the makeup. Barbie was a cultural event. Everybody wearing pink to the. Then also remember that was around Oppenheimer too. So yes, by the power of Grayskull. Okay, I have a question. Who was this movie for? The cartoon came out over 20 years ago. Is it over 20 years ago? You might want to extend that. That came out like in the 80s, like what, 82, 84? Like to me, it's like the same thing as like that is a good question though. It's like, who is this movie for? Because I remember when Jeff Snyder was talking about it, and he was asking the same question. He was like, "Yeah, why are they making a Masters of the Universe movie in 2025? Like, who would actually give a damn about this film?" Because I would think, Gen X, millennials, elder millennials, they would be the ones that would be aware of this franchise. And plus, I guess, it could be for the nostalgia. A lot of those Gen Xers and millennials who have kids, they'll take their sons to go see the movie or whatever the case is, or daughters. And so it'll be a family event. Do I think it'll, I hope it makes money. I hope that word of mouth gets butts and seats. But yeah, that is a good question. It's like, who is this movie for? So, and especially in this day and age, are they? And nobody's upset about that. What they should do is put a model of Castle Grayskull for people to take pictures at. I'm sure they'll probably do it. What you mean in the theaters? Well, Jared Leto's already playing Skeletor, so I mean he's skinny enough and he got the bone structure. It's a, oh wait, I forgot about the Master of the Universe cartoon on Netflix. And that's another thing too. That the Netflix cartoon that also may have introduced a new generation to He-Man and stuff like that. I watched the cartoon that when it was on Netflix. I liked it. I heard it was like a hit. So it said the cartoon was from the 80s and they did a couple of reboot attempts that didn't last long. Hmm. I used to like She-Ra too. I wonder if she'll make an appearance. I'm surprised they never thought about making a She-Ra movie. Kind of like how they did Supergirl. Never thought about doing. Allison Brie, by the way, is playing Evelyn. Oh, it was Haley Sour. Look, I always get Haley and I always get Shailene because I think they kind of resemble each other. Haley Steinfeld's come a long way. She was in Sinners, getting hunched by one of the Smokestack twins, became a vampire. I think she's married now. She's married now. When you're saying the franchise is 40 years old, he does have the bone structure. It's like he got the bone structure to play Skeletor. And that if it becomes a box office hit, I do wonder that too. And who would be able to play She-Ra? I can't think about it. Um, Sydney Sweeney, and then just make it, just make her breast the focal point. But no, I wouldn't want Sydney Sweeney. I'm tired of her actually. I mean, yeah, look. Am I lying? He does have the bone structure. Anyway, so let's see. All right now, since we're in Halloween territory, let's talk about Halloween. So apparently there's a new book. I don't know if it's out yet. And I'm sure in the article they mentioned the name of the book or whatever the case is. But anyway, there's a book that's out or coming out that's supposed to be celebrating the past, the 15 years of Blumhouse. And since it's been 3 years since Hollywood Ends, which has been divisive to a lot of people, there are people who love it. There are people who absolutely hate it. I don't know if there's anybody relatively in the middle that feels in between about that film. I teeter more on the side of I liked Halloween Ends, and I definitely compartmentalize that film as well because my thing is this: I'm sort of like Halloween Ends wasn't a good movie, but as a part of a trilogy, it sucks. As a standalone movie, it's good. The whole thing with Corey Cunningham and all that other mess, that was unnecessary for you to kind of add that character that had no kind of connection to the Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. You bring in this new character. I know the most thing that people are really upset about with that film is the fact that how this scrawny little kid who was getting beat up by a bunch of band geeks, which they were like, oh, that's not realistic. Band geeks aren't bullies. I'm like, where the fuck have you been? Yes, they are. I mean, I hate the idea that people always think that jocks are always the big bullies or whatever case. When I was in school, I was a floater, so I didn't really get in a lot of drama. Yeah, I got into fights, but for the most part, I was always floating around in different groups and stuff when I was growing up. But yeah, some of them band geeks, they're just as obnoxious a pain in the ass too. So that part was believable, and people was getting annoyed because they were saying like, "Oh, how's he getting beat up by these people?" But then he can go and wrestle Michael Myers in a cave and steal his mask. And I'm sitting there like, Michael Myers got stabbed, beat up in the second one before he recharged, got his little power, whatever, and started fucking everybody up, including um Laurie's daughter, which I hated the fact that she was supposed to be going after him at the end, and then they kind of just scrapped that and then went into because I have that version where she's like, "I'm coming for you, Michael," and you hear him breathing in the phone. I do have that version of the film that I own, but it was kind of annoying how they just kind of scrapped that, and all of a sudden it's years later, and she's writing a memoir, and so I'm just like, so I don't think they knew what the hell they was going to do with that last movie. And then, like you already said, that my another issue I had with the film was like, you spend so much time on Corey Cunningham and the whole relationship with Allison and all this other stuff. Well, y'all wasted her. Y'all didn't seem like y'all didn't know what to do with that character. And then it's like when we get to the third act, all of a sudden y'all was like, oh, wait a minute. The movie's almost over. It's been almost 2 hours and we haven't resolved anything between Michael and Laurie. And so we got to throw in this fight scene in the kitchen between them. It was just the movie has its issues, but I've found a common ground of appreciating the what's the word? The risks, I guess, that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride took with that film. So you could have A for effort with that. It wasn't a perfect film, but I will say that I like that y'all kind of took big swings with the film. But anyway, so for many years, shout out to Bloody Disgusting for this story, by the way. For many years, the most controversial installment in the Halloween franchise was Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which is another movie that I've grown fond of. I know a lot of people hated that movie because it was like, it wasn't no Michael Myers in it. But I like the idea that they took the Halloween title and was like, let's create anthologies. But nobody wanted it. They wanted Michael Myers going around killing people. And so that's what they had to keep coming up with because it was making the studios and the Akkad family a lot of money. So yeah, so that was the most controversial movie at the time. But with that oddball entry becoming more and more beloved as the years go on, the new world champion in that department may as well be Halloween Ends. Released in 2022, Ends was the final installment in David Gordon Green's legacy sequel trilogy, tasking itself with wrapping up the Michael and Laurie Strode story while also introducing a brand new shape into the mix with Rowan Campbell's Corey Cunningham. Sidebar, they started releasing new trailers for Silent Night Deadly Night, which Rowan Campbell is in, and he's playing Billy, the killer. I'm looking forward to seeing that movie in December. So if you're not even aware that that movie was coming out, they did a remake and Rowan Campbell is playing the killer, definitely check out the trailer. A new trailer dropped today on YouTube. So if you get a chance, definitely check that out. So the character in his role of Halloween Ends proved divisive, to say the least, with most fans looking for one thing and one thing only from Ends, a satisfying conclusion to the Laurie versus Michael saga that began back in 1978 with John Carpenter's original slasher classic, a final battle that a few films before it, including Halloween 2018, had claimed to be. And I have to say this, feel like no shade, but y'all dropped the ball twice in regarding the Michael Laurie battle. I felt like even though I love Halloween H2O, I felt like that movie was rushed. I also in a lot of sequences, and plus that fight sequence at the end felt rushed. Although I will say the fight scene in Halloween H2O was way better. Even though like in the school scene that scene was too short, but I did like the scene when it was just like she had him up in the van, she steals the van, they drive, he comes out because the zipper wasn't all the way obviously, so he could open it up and get out. Yeah, I noticed the edit issues and stuff in that movie too. And how he gets stuck to the van flips over, he flies out, and then well, he didn't fly out actually. Actually, he did fly when she put on the brakes and went through the window. Then he gets up, she drives into him. Then she puts on the brakes. He flies. The car flips. Well, van flips, and then he gets pinned. And then she goes and chops his head off. That would have been a great conclusion. Then they're gonna come in and do that horrible ass movie with Busta Rhymes, which we're not gonna get into. But I would say that scene was good. The fight scene also in ends was pretty interesting. I liked the kind of going back and forth, the way they was fucking each other up. I was living for that. But I just feel like y'all dropped the ball twice in regards of giving Lori that resolution that she needed. Y'all still dropped the ball with that, and I feel like at this point, leave it alone. We don't need Jamie Lee Curtis to come back, and we don't need y'all tampering with that story no more. Maybe if y'all want to go and do Jamie Lloyd's story or whatever case in a different alternate universe, that would be cool. But at this point, I'm just like, can we start over and come up with a whole new idea surrounding Michael Myers and some new breed of kids? Because this whole Lori story has been it's been done to death at this point. I'm ready to move on to some new people that aren't related to him or just some new kids that he just happens to come across, but make him a whole new Michael Myers, make him younger, have him in present day, disregard all the other movies, just make it your own thing, but just tell a new story. And not have him be old like y'all did in this one. But it makes sense because it's supposed to be a legacy sequel. He had to be old. So then they said that Halloween Ends comes to a close because we're going to tell you the scene that was the original idea. And I think they said Halloween Dies was supposed to be the original name. And I think that was a take on the whole Evil Dies Tonight situation. I fucking hate it when they were saying that to other people. Evil Dies Tonight. Evil Dies Tonight. I'm like, I want to jump through this damn TV and kill all of y'all that keep saying that stupid Evil Dies Tonight line because it got on my nerves. I was irritated. But I understand it was for the movie. They thought it was working. It was not working in my opinion, but whatever. So they said it comes to a close with Laurie killing Michael once and for all, as we saw things she also done a couple of times before. Because remember, we at the end, after she done stabbed him and they broke his arm, split in half, and all the other thing, and then Allison came in and helped kill him, and after everything, and then they went and they tied his body to the vehicle. Then they threw him in the industrial shredder. So it was like, yeah, he was pretty much done, and the whole town of Haddonfield watched so they could see like evil basically died. But no, evil always lingers. So that was the original ending where she was supposed to get back to a semblance of a normal life. But they said, but as the original ending of Halloween Ends would have been a bit different in the wake of Michael's disposal, as Jamie Lee Curtis notes in the new book, which is called Horror's New Wave, 15 Years of Blumhouse, an original ending took us into a mask factory, while another would have quite literally had an evil from Michael Myers into the body of Laurie Strode. So yeah, so they were basically kind of do similar to how when it came with Corey Cunningham, where it was kind of like they were trying to take ideas from well, they did use inspiration from Christine, which was when Arnie Cunningham went and got that car, which we found out the guy he bought it from and killed his brother. And then when he went and got the car pretty much fixed itself up, and the car was basically feeding off of him and vice versa. That was kind of like the inspiration they did with the whole Michael thing. That when Corey and Michael kind of had this connection. They were feeding off of each other, and Michael's energy was recharging because of when Corey would kill and vice versa. So they were trying to do it like the evil was transferable, which I thought was a pretty interesting idea that they were tackling. They didn't execute it all that great, but I thought that would be an interesting idea. Like, yeah, because remember at one point, remember they tried to do that at the end of Halloween 4 when Michael was supposed to have died, and he went and touched his niece, and then they told her back when they shot his ass up. And then all of a sudden, she went at the end. She went and stabbed her mother with the scissors, the adopted mother in the bathroom, which is telling the little child all that blood and stuff you went through. I'm gonna get you in the tub and wipe your ass. So then that whole situation, I think they try to dabble into that idea from Halloween 4, and then they try to do with this movie. So, um, they were trying to say, yeah, that after Lori went and killed Michael, that energy would have went into her. But then again, she's encountered him so many times. Why didn't that happen back in 1978? So that wouldn't have made sense. Also, this whole idea where y'all were trying to do the whole Halloween 3 mask thing, that wouldn't have worked for this either because Halloween 3 was its own individual movie. And John Carpenter has said many a times, Michael was evil on two legs. Michael, it was basically it was about atmosphere. He was the shape. He was just the personification of evil. So the mask did not make him do the things he did. He was just that way, whether or not he had the mask or anything. Because he ain't had no mask on when he escaped Haddonfield, the mental institution. So the math thing, making him evil, didn't make sense necessarily. That was an idea I think they were just trying to play off with the whole Corey Cunningham having maybe hiding behind Michael's mask because it gave him the cojones to go and kill so he could hide behind the personification of Michael Myers and Haddonfield and that whole thing hovering over him or him hovering, his evil hovering over that town. Maybe that was what they were thinking in a metaphorical way or whatever. But no, the mask was not the whole mask evil thing. No, that wouldn't have worked. I'm glad they scrapped that. So yeah, they were talking about basically, as I said, because as I was ranting on about that, my own thoughts. The original ending of Halloween Ends, originally entitled Halloween Dies, was a scene in a mask factory. This is what Jamie Lee Curtis said. She said, "You see a conveyor belt of masks being manufactured. The Michael Myers mask, which was saying we're all monsters if you put on the mask. It's not just Michael, it's all of us if we wear the mask, and yet somehow it didn't satiate. I think it was too intellectual for this finale. It was a big swing, and I honor the support the big swing." And the one thing I've always said, I love you, Jamie Lee Curtis, but sometimes you talk to the point where I just be like, girl, you always be trying to sound smarter than you actually are. Because no, I don't think it was too intellectual. I think it's insulting the intelligence of the Halloween fans. And remember, you said you're not a big horror movie fan, or whatever the case was. So yeah, your career has benefited wholeheartedly from Halloween because you are I wouldn't say the original Scream Queen. The original Scream Queen kind of would be your mother, but you were of that time. You were the big Scream Queen. Now, I guess with this generation, well, the generation of my generation, it would be Nev Campbell with the Scream movies. I don't know who the new Scream Queen will be of this generation because I don't even think y'all have an IP where somebody stands out where they're their own franchise of Scream Queen. But what her saying that is like, no, I feel like you're insulting the intelligence of those of us who are big Halloween fans. It's like, no, it wasn't too intellectual. It doesn't fit who Michael was. It said, oh, we're all monsters at the end of the day. We put on the mask. And it's like, no. I mean, it's a nice big swing, but no, it wouldn't have worked for this franchise. So she said there was also an ending in which we explored and filmed a sort of transference between Laurie and Michael. In the final killing of Michael, Laurie almost became him. In the second of Glory, taking the life of Michael Myers, she became Michael Myers. She has to go away at this point. She has to revert back to the Laurie we met in the first film. She has to isolate herself for the rest of her life because she now has a piece of Michael in her, but it was too dark and too profound to satisfy the hunger of this 40-year journey. And we changed it in this procession where the town of Haddonfield quietly bears witness to the end of Michael. Then Laurie goes back to her house in the final scenes. So yeah, it doesn't make sense because it's like, no, we're not having that whole transference of evil because you've encountered him in the past. So why didn't you become Michael back in 1978 when, you know, you was stabbing him up and all that other stuff? But then again, Dr. Loomis shot him 6 times out the window and then he vanished. So then he said it was Jamie Lee Curtis who insisted upon the happy ending between Laurie and Frank on the front porch outside Laurie's house at Haddonfield, intended to, in her own words, give hope that they're going to end up in Japan and that Laurie's going to get a shot at life. And then, well, the shape makes one last appearance, sort of. So the very last shot of Halloween End shows the Michael mask sitting on a coffee table in Laurie's house, suggesting that she can never fully move past her own personal boogeyman, saying, I think there was an ambiguity and there was an ambiguity to it intentionally. This is what she explains in Horror's New Wave 15 Years of Blumhouse. I think it has the same effect that the original idea for the Mask Factory spewing out Michael Myers' mask would have had. Would that have been a Silver Shamrock Mask Factory? Perhaps. Halloween Ends is, after all, the Halloween 3 season of the Witch of Gabriel Gordon Green's trilogy. That is a fact, though. That's the one thing I would say out of this whole thing is like, yeah, Halloween Ends is David basically the Halloween 3 of his franchise. And I truly believe that maybe a decade, maybe two from now, people will kind of look back on Halloween Ends and be like, you know what, that movie wasn't as bad as I remembered. I mean, like I said, I applaud any movie that takes big swings and tries out for different stuff. But I'm actually glad that they scrapped those other ideas. The whole Silver Shamrock, the whole conveyor belt of Michael Myers mask. No, that wouldn't have worked. Even though metaphorically, like we were saying, that this is Halloween Ends was the Halloween 3 season of the Witch of the franchise. But yeah, that wouldn't have worked. And I'm glad that they scrapped that original ending. And they said they wrote it, but they never filmed it. And I'm kind of glad that it was like we wrote it in the script, we thought about filming it, we kind of looked at it, and it was like, no. But I still stand on 10 toes down on the fact that I love Season of the Witch, love, love, love that movie. And then on top of that, also Halloween Ends. I don't hate it as much as everybody else does. I appreciate them for what they did. As I said, the swings that they took for that film. But like I said, that movie is very divisive. People either love it or they hate it. There's no in between. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Would you have loved to have seen those two different alternate endings? Do you think it would have fit in with the Halloween franchise, or do you think they did the right thing by scrapping it? I'm glad you revealed that in the book, and y'all didn't go and film it and put it in a thing and waste that money, and then y'all have to show it in front of a test audience, and they be like, "Oh hell no, get rid, we don't like it," and then y'all got to go in and do reshoots. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I was like, y'all know I love me some Halloween, so I had to go in on that one. um, I did not see the She-Ra video that Kylie Minogue did. Or maybe I did see it a long time ago. Well, you said Funny or Die, so I might have seen that. I like the Halloween 3 world. That song was stuck in my head. Oh, everything is Halloween, 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 and what is the Halloween Silver Shamrock? You talking about that song? Because that song does get stuck in your head. The plot of Michael passing the curse was always a pitched idea. I mean, I don't mind the idea of the passing of the curse, but then again, you know what? They try to say like that was kind of like the whole thorn thing that they were going in, where it's like he's being uh controlled by these druids or whatever case. That whole storyline. One of the things I've always said that has irritated me about Halloween, particularly the Rob Zombie versions, too much backstory. Why are we giving Michael so much backstory? Like, I hated the whole backstory that Rob Zombie gave with Michael Myers, where it's like, well, his mother's a stripper, his stepfather's a dick, sister can't keep her legs closed. They're like like every character that Rob Zombie comes with has to be fucking trailer trash, and it's like, why? Do you not know anybody else? Have you never been around enough a different type of everybody's trailer trash? Everybody's using the C word, and they talk like with a gutter mouth, and it's just like, not who talks like this. And I don't know, and like mix up your characters. And also, I hate the way that he did Octavia Spencer in Halloween too. That's another thing I don't like about that. It's like you was doing the most with the stabbings on her. As a band gig specifically, marching band kids are mean. I was in marching band freshman year and they K-worded all of my confidence. Guess I wasn't weird and chronically online enough. The jocks were surprisingly really nice. Oh, please, I've been knocking them upside the head with one of them drums. False advertising for ends. People were walking out halfway through, and those stayed. Most of them bitched about how they were let down. Yeah, because it was like you made it more about this other character, and it's like, maybe because by the time they got to the third one, it was like, well, what can we possibly do with Laurie's character at this point? You sideline her in the hospital in the second one, which is basically what y'all did in Halloween 2. And then the third one, it was like, yeah, you're supposed to be cutting out the Michael. Y'all, instead of that continuing that same night or whatever. But then by the time with all that stuff that was happening between both movies, I'm like, okay, it's about to be November 1st right now. So we probably had to postpone it a bit until next Halloween. So it could have been a year later. I'm trying to remember what was the timeline between that. But yeah, y'all focus too much on this other side character and not enough on balancing it by having Lori in the film. So I'd have been mad too. But I stuck it out. I did go to the movies to see that. Actually, I went to the movies to see all three of them. So I stuck it out, and also y'all wasted Kyle Richards. First of all, they wasted all the legacy characters. You wasted Nurse Marion. How you bring her back and waste her? She died twice though. She died in H2O, and she died in Halloween Kills. Halloween is my favorite franchise, but it was getting difficult to defend with that last trilogy. I agree though. Laurie Strode's story has ended, and so well, look, a lot of people keep saying that Sydney Prescott's story has pretty much run its course. I will say that maybe not necessarily for Sydney Prescott, and that's only because I feel like Sydney has well, a kid as far as we know, because I could have sworn it was two kids when she was pushing that stroller. But she has a daughter now, a lot older, time jump, all this other stuff. So I just want to know what the plot is of Scream, and I'm so glad they've been able to keep this under wraps, regardless of what all these other YouTubers who've been doing every other day. They got a Scream video that they coming out with some new theory, some stuff that's been coming out. They always come out with these videos, and it's like, um, for the most part, they've been able to keep this franchise and everything with the script under wraps, even though, like I said, all these people coming out with their little videos because I guess you got to keep them algorithms algorithming. So I get it, but I just want to know what the plot is. I need to see a trailer and if it's going to be interesting because like seeing Sydney have to like defend somebody who isn't herself is more interesting. And what is this new killer's motivation? Because we keep hearing stories that it could be Stu Macher coming back, or that a lot of this, the mastermind behind all this, could be Stu's sister. So we'll see. Once the movie comes out, now my pizza's in the oven. Speaking of which, there's supposed to be speaking of Halloween, well hold on, because now I gotta look it up. I heard there was supposed to be a Halloween YouTube fan video that's supposed to be coming out. I don't know if that's today. Hold on, let me check my all I see is myself online right now. Because I want to see what's it called, because I did save it in the situation. It's called Halloween Aftermath. It's a fan film. I think it comes out tomorrow, whatever the case was. So yeah, they made a little fan film on YouTube. That's where they have the trailers and stuff called Halloween Aftermath. So I'm actually looking forward to checking that out when it drops, because I always like them when they do the fan films. I just get mad when the studios get like, you can't be using this property, so we have to take it down. I'm like, let people make their little fan videos. That just goes to show they love the movies. Like with Friday the 13th and all that other stuff. Y'all not gonna come the hell on out and make a damn movie. Let the fans do it. Maybe you need to hire some of them, because some of them will give y'all an actual idea. Corey wearing a 40-year-old crusty musty. Yeah, could you imagine what that mask smell like? The mask is a spray painted Captain Kirk mask. Yeah. hmm Any thoughts on the Victoria's Secret fashion show? I didn't see it, even though I knew about the advertisement, because every time I left work, there was like this big advertisement about the Victoria's Secret, and they put it on like one of the windows and stuff on 34th Street. So I knew it was coming. I forgot about it though, and I did see that one of the Sprouse brothers was there. To me, he needed to tuck in his fupa. I was like, "Shut up." Oh yeah, I did see the new trailers for the It series. It actually looks good. I want to know what the overall thoughts are, because some people said that, well, there's been a couple of YouTubers that have said that they've seen the first couple of episodes and they can't speak on it because of the embargo. I wish some of you studios would send me something. so that way I can start watching shows and giving my thoughts on it. But I guess what it is, I got to build up my audience and all that other stuff first before they be like, oh, well, he's worthy enough that people care. And then we'll send him the videos and he'll make stuff. So, hmm Halloween a Bloodline. Why does it sound like something out of Final Destination? That's what it was given, unless that's what you were referencing. All right, y'all. So now let's move on from movies and let's get into some music. Let's talk about Danity Kane now. It should have been no surprise. It was only a matter of time before we get an announcement from these ladies that DK will be coming back with an all new tour. Now they're going on a brief tour. But nevertheless, they're going on tour, and they made this announcement shortly after Diddy ass got locked up in jail for a good 4 years and 2 months. So the girl group, which was formed by the Diddler, are going on a mini American tour in December, probably testing the waters to see if y'all give a damn. Now, it was announced that Danity Kane is celebrating their child. I can't with the numbers because now it's showing the age. Their 20th anniversary with a new tour called The Untold Chapter. The tour poster is a silhouette of three. Well, actually, hold on. I actually got the tour poster, so I'm gonna show y'all. The tour poster is a silhouette of three women behind an orange background. It has not been confirmed yet which Danity Kane members are coming back, as there have been various changes in the lineup over the years. And I've heard some people say they don't think Dawn's coming back, but I'm like, y'all don't know what the hell y'all talking about. So yeah, apparently I don't know. It could be. Well, obviously we know it got to be Aubrey, because that'd be the only reason. So I would think like it would be. I would want Aubrey, Dawn, and who else? Should it be Shannon? Can you imagine if they got Andrea to come back? Because you couldn't get her to come back if you tried. But if they could get Andrea to come back, then that would be lit. But I kind of wish it would be. I wish all the girls would actually come back. D Woods and all of them. It would have been nice if they could have all came back. But well, I guess we'll have to wait to find out which ones is coming back. Now the tagline on the tour post was, "This isn't a comeback. I've been here for years. It isn't a comeback. It's a revolution." Hashtag the untold chapter. The girl group last night sorry, the girl group last was together in 2020 before going on indefinite hiatus. As per Danity Kane's website, tickets will be going on sale on Friday, October 17th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This comes earlier this week. As earlier this week, the group had teased a reunion of sorts with a photo on their social media of three silhouettes standing together, all raising their hands into peace signs. The girls the group first formed, as y'all know, on the third season of MTV's Making a Band in 2005 and signed with Diddy's record label, Bad Boy Records. The original group had Aubrey O'Day, Dawn Richard, Shannon Bex, Juanita D. Woods, Woodgett, and Audrey Fimbers. Danity Kane released their self-titled debut album in 2006, which garnered success in the U.S. And they were the first. I think it was like, didn't they say that they were the first girl group to go platinum twice, or whatever the case was? Two singles of the album, "Showstopper" and "Ride for You," charted on the Billboard Hot 100. Then y'all know they came on one of my favorite albums, and child, you couldn't tell me that album is gayer than your average homosexual. Welcome to the Dollhouse. The amount of bops that's on that record, and they had Damage. Striptease is my shit. So I love that record. So yeah. So and then they said they were the first female girl group to top the Billboard 200 with their first and second album. So that was like even before TLC, Escape, probably even Destiny's Child. Now, after a meeting, they said, so now what had happened with them? Because everybody wanted to remember when they broke up, because there was a lot of tension or whatever within the group. On a October 2008 finale episode of Making the Band, Diddy basically removed Aubrey and D Woods from the group, basically fired them. The three remaining members went on to complete their previously scheduled promotional events and then broke up in 2009. Aubrey, Dawn, Shannon, and Andrea announced that they were reuniting in 2013, but Andrea announced her departure from Danity Kane on the first night of their reunion tour in 2014. The group, which then consisted of Aubrey, Dawn, and Shannon, broke up again in 2014, but got back together in August 2018. In 2020, Aubrey and Dawn released music as a duo under Danity Kane and had stopped posting on their official Instagram account in March of that year. Look, I'm gonna need y'all to get it together because y'all can't keep switching out and being like, "Oh, it's gonna be the three of us," only it's gonna be the two of us. Like it was able to work when it was Destiny's Child. When they got rid of them other two, and then they tried to bring in two more, and then it didn't work again, and then they chopped one of the girls and kept Michelle, and then it was just Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle, and it was able to work. And I guess because Beyonce was that standout chick, and with all of that being said, people just stuck with the group because Kelly and Beyonce, people was living for them, and then Michelle was just there. So the group managed to work because of what they were doing. Now, if it's just gonna be the three of y'all, I'm just hoping like, okay, if it's gotta be Dawn and it's gotta be Aubrey, because those are the two standout girls with the strongest personalities. I just hope that, and then whoever the third one is, it's fill in the blank. Because quiet as it's kept, none of them girls really stood out on that show outside of Dawn and Aubrey. They were like the ones with the biggest personalities. And we've heard the stories over the years where Aubrey has stated that um the way that a lot of the girls were treated when they did make it in the band, and how they didn't even print out a lot of CDs and this, that, and the other for them to sell because didn't Diddy like it was he's like the black Donald Trump. It's all about the perception. It's all about image and looks and things. So he want to get a perception that this is this big pop girl group or whatever the case is, and he's doing it because he wants to create this thing. It was all about him and maintaining his 15 minutes in the world of reality television. He was making that show more about him than it was them girls. What he didn't realize was that a lot of people that when we was watching Making the Band, we was falling in love with the girls, seeing the process of how they was putting this album together. We was living for the songs because reality TV was hot at that time. So he was, y'all had an idea of doing something, but as we was watching the show, it just became something completely different, and we fell in love with the group and then it just took off from there. So I don't think he expected this group to be as successful as they were, and then just found ways to just sabotage. And then we kind of found out later on that Aubrey was like, because she wouldn't give in to his sexual advances, is why she pretty much was given the heave ho, and because she was outspoken. And Diddy rather the only time I guess he want a girl to have her mouth open is if a dick is in it. So you can't talk back to him and live to tell the tale. And plus, over the years, Aubrey has been very outspoken about them. And I know, like, they didn't sign the contracts on a lot of other stuff in regards of the music, them making the money off the residuals and stuff, because she said that if they would have signed it, then that's literally buying their silence. And she wasn't willing to be that girl. So they may not make money off the songs, but them touring, I'm guessing that, with the merch and everything, that they'll be able to, make the money and all that other stuff. But they're doing small venues, which I actually think is a great idea. So the tour kicks off on December 9th in California, San Francisco to be exact, at August Hall, on the 10th in Los Angeles, California, December 12th in Caseville, Connecticut, at the Cabaret Theater at Mohegan Sun. December 13th, same place. December 14th, Detroit, Michigan, Soundboard of Motor City Casino. Not y'all doing casinos, child. December 16th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at Jurgles Rhythm Grill. And also in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at Union Transfer in December 18th. That's on the 16th, 17th in Pennsylvania. December 18th, Boston, Massachusetts, at the Royale. And they close out their show in New York at Webster Hall. And I'm guessing once those tickets go on sale, I wonder if they'll add a second date to the Webster Hall event. Because I'm kind of curious. I actually want to go. Just like I want to go to the Peaches. She's coming to New York. The problem is she's going to Maspeth, and I think isn't that Long Island? I don't know where the hell that is, but I'm like, if it ain't in the city, my ass ain't going. So, um, Webster Hall might be a good spot for them to kind of go up in there, where they'll be up in there performing. Hopefully, they'll have some backup dancers, a great band, some cute costumes. That sort of like really give a show. And I always say, y'all don't have to have like a big arena or a stadium to give a really good show. You could do it in a smaller venue as long as you got fierce vocals, sickening choreography, fabulous costumes, and some cute backup dancers and some cute visuals and all the other stuff in the background. There's nothing wrong with doing smaller venues, and sure they will definitely turn out Webster Hall when they come to New York to close out their show. So I say all this to say, sorry, that was the wrong thing. Supposed to take that out. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? You excited for the fact that Danity Kane is getting back together and doing a tour. Now I'm all for my nostalgia groups or whatever, and I don't feel like I get as upset as some people do when all the band members aren't there. Like I told you, when I did the Queens of R&B, you'd be surprised how many groups was up there that all the members wasn't there. Escape didn't have all their members. Um, Total didn't have all their members. Pam lesbian ass wasn't there. Um, and so many of the other groups and stuff that was up there was a lot of members missing. So, and they were able to trek on. So, if it could work with these other groups, it could work with Danity Kane. As long as, like I said, as long as y'all give sickening choreography, fabulous outfits, wardrobe changes, some top-notch vocals, and give me a good show. I don't care which one show up, as long as it's Dawn and Aubrey up there, and whoever the other third is the third. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay. Um, yeah, it was Halloween aftermath. It's really short, a 10-day tour. Yeah, it is really short, but I feel like they're doing that because they're testing the waters, which is a smart thing to do. My thing would be, let me just do like small dates, test the waters, see if there's an audience out there instead of me booking 60 shows or whatever and my tickets don't sell. So do like like that's a smart thing to do. Do small little dates and expand. That's what No Doubt did. No Doubt had 6 dates set for uh their residency at the Sphere. After there was this huge demand, they added 6 more. So now they're doing 12 dates. And that's what you do. You start out small and you expand. I wish a lot of other talent, musicians did that instead of they ego being bigger than their own, situation. Start small and work your way up. Who's she? We talking about Aubrey? I mean, she definitely has the gift of gab, so she should do a podcast. All right, y'all. So now let's move on and let's talk about Miss Britney. So we got a lot of tea to spill regarding Britney. So first, let's get this out of the way. So Britney, Kevin Federline has a new book coming out. I personally don't care. I did see somebody jump in the comments talking about, well, on yesterday's show after the live was over, talking about they don't particularly care for Britney, that they looking forward to reading. But okay, well, you'll be the one that be out there reading that, paying for that book. So you could definitely help him with his little GoFundMe or whatever the case is. You could be the charity case to give him what he needs to get for you going out and buying his book at the local Barnes and Noble. But nevertheless, so he came out and made claims against Teresa Espinoza, who was one of Britney's backup dancers, and basically said that they had hooked up while they were in Amsterdam or something or another. So now Teresa has come out and has spoken or broken her silence regarding this whole situation. So remember, for those who need a refresher, he detailed the night out in Amsterdam with Spears in 2004 while on the Onyx Hotel tour, which a lot of people say is like their favorite Britney tour. He claimed she left him alone in the hotel room before he went searching for her. Well, first of all, I don't know if that's necessarily true because I remember when we read the story yesterday, didn't they say that they were out at the club or something or another and she kind of disappeared for a moment? He thought she was doing some business type stuff and he went and he was walking around searching for her and then saw one of the doors was open and saw like Brittany was standing in between Teresa legs with her head in her hands, well, both hands cupping her face, and they were just full on making out. That's what I remember with the story. But Two Fab saying something different. So they basically saying, yeah, she left him alone in the hotel room before he went searching for her and discovered her going at it and full on making out with a dancer named Teresa, who he credited with introducing him at the club about a month prior. While he wrote the moment made him realize this wasn't what I signed up for. Well, child, you in Hollywood, everything goes at this point. That's not what you signed up for. But you ended up signing, it up for it when you married her. So clearly you wasn't that furious. You was fast, but you wasn't furious. The dancer in question, Teresa Espinosa, posted a lengthy reaction of Federline's tale to Instagram on Wednesday after an excerpt in which he detailed the alleged hookup from the book started making headlines. So let me actually, because I just opened it as I was reading the article. Let me actually pull up the article for y'all. And she said, in the last 2 days, my name has been circulating in the Hollywood gossip news, and I was asked for comment by Us Weekly and TMZ. My comment is this. I had the lovely honor of dancing for and with Britney Spears during the In the Zone promo that turned into the Onyx Hotel tour. At the time, 2003 to 2004, I felt the chaotic energy that was Britney's life just by being in proximity to her. Paparazzi were in full effect everywhere she went. She couldn't breathe or sneeze without someone trying to capture a moment of her beautiful soul. At the time, I didn't have the words to explain my experience with her. I could see and feel that she was lost, with the world watching her every move. From my perspective, all she wanted was to be normal. I remember one day she told me she bought a box of hair dye and colored her own hair. I thought how funny that was because most people I knew in the industry love getting their hair done by a professional. Well, you have to realize Miss Thing is from Louisiana. She is like that old country backwoods chick. So she's always gonna find ways where it's like she's that homebody type. So she said, I took that as her just wanting a version of a regular normal life. Of course, I'm speculating, but that's what I felt from her. I think you might be right about that actually. Because people do crazy things when it's like they want that sense of normalcy instead of, oh, I can just go to a professional and have them do my, no, I want to do it myself. Just like she took it upon herself to go in the barbershop and shave her head. One night, I invited Brittany to go with my friend Cara and me to Joseph's. It was the club to go to in that area. Or in that era, sorry. We were frantically chased by paparazzi the whole way to the club. The drive was dangerous and super crazy, with them boxing us in on all sides of my car while desperately trying to get a picture of her. We finally made it to the club, and the promoter immediately let us in. Soon as we entered, I saw my friend Kevin Federline. At the time, Kevin and I lived in the same quadruplex, and he just happened to be there that night. When I saw Kevin, I thought Kevin is cute. I should introduce them. Well, he is cute. We're not going to deny that. He just got an ugly ass, spirit. But other than that, yeah. And that's why those type you got to watch out for. But anyway, it said I'm not exactly sure how that innocent introduction turned into more than just a simple hang, but that's not my story to tell. I felt blessed to have shared the stage with her all over the world. She allowed me to live my dreams as a professional dancer and eventually asked me to choreograph the outrageous music video, which was never fully completed because she hurt her knee on set. And then it says continue in comments. So I don't know. Somebody said, I wish you never introduced them. Well, look, who would have known? And then she said, so here's my take. No one will ever know what it's been like to walk second in her shoes. So um look, y'all sit up here and say, oh, I wish you would have never introduced them. But I'm like, who knew that this was how things was going to end up? So you never know what's going to happen in those type of situations. So it's not necessarily her fault. She didn't know. So yeah, so she said what she said in regards to the whole situation, and you know, Brittany has responded because yesterday there was the rep that responded, but then after the show was done, Brittany took to social media and went in and let have on his ass. So here's what I was like, wait, oh, I was because I had to look for because the rep said what they said, but then you know what? I'll read again just in case nobody saw yesterday's video. So they said, with news from Kevin's book breaking, once again, he and others are profiting off her, and sadly, it comes out that child support has ended with Kevin. All she cares about are her kids, sorry, Sean Preston and Jaden James, and their well-being during this sensationalism. She derailed her journey in her memoir. She also posted a lengthier statement about him on social media on Wednesday night, saying that she's tired of his gaslighting and stuff. But before we get to that, let me read y'all this other one. So yeah, he went in again and decided to come up with this story talking about that Britney was out here doing drugs while she was pregnant with, well, not even pregnant, while she was breastfeeding. So that was the latest one. So, oh, before I get to that part, because that's the juicy of the juicy. Let's get to the fact that he was out here telling the business about when he first got with Britney. He said the first time he met her, they hunched, saying that the moment I sat down, everything else kind of just faded into the background. It was just me and her when they met at the nightclub. Speaking of Teresa and everything, he said he was just thinking about smashing Britney and wasn't expecting to get married and have two kids together, which we all know now is what played out. He said as the night wore on, Brittany invited him to join her group for a late night swim at the Beverly Hills Hotel. He says Brittany has a bungalow with a private pool and a hot tub. He wrote, then while everyone was still swimming, Brittany got out of the hot tub, grabbed my arm, and led me to the bungalow. Everyone else must have got the message and eventually left. I wasn't worried about anyone else though. He When he was alone with her inside the bungalow, Kevin says that he turned around, slipped off her. Oh, she turned around, slipped off her underwear, and started kissing him as she tore off his clothes with both hands. And basically said we stumbled toward the bed, and I struggled to kick off my pants off my ankles. This is happening. The build up ends there, though. KFed writes, "Okay, sorry, calm down. That's as detailed as I'm going to get on that." So he basically said, yeah, the first night where it was purely physical, and one night became two, then stretched into three, the whole time holed up in that bungalow. So basically, was saying like it was like sexual between them. That yeah, she wanted some dick. Because remember, the word on the card was once Brittany got a wolf of dick from well, I think she been had well, I think does it mention in her memoir that she was not a virgin when she got with Justin Timberlake? Miss Thing was carrying while she was out in Louisiana. And if she was, that was her business. We all did our dirt when we was in our teens. I ain't no innocent either. So I'm not judging. But nevertheless, how you gonna sit up here and talk about the night y'all hunched, which is not something your kids want to read out of that book. But then you're gonna be like, oh, calm down. That's as much as I'm gonna give you. Like, don't sit up in here and spill the tea if you're not gonna go all the way. Like, did she slob the knob? Did you come in her tits or her mouth? Like these are the things that if you're gonna get in the detail, get in the detail. So I know it was a little graphic, but but look, if you're gonna come out here and try to write a book, what's the reason for us to read it if you're not gonna tell us nothing? So yeah, so then not only that, let's get into the other sensationalism of the mess, where he basically talked about how she was up in there doing booger sugar while she was breastfeeding their children. Hold on, I was like, wait, where's that? Oh, I got it. So yeah, he said Britney Spears drank alcohol while pregnant with her two sons and once did booger sugar, y'all know what that is, before trying to breastfeed the children. Federline reflects, well, he's 47, he's a little older than that, reflects on his 3-year marriage to Britney Spears, who's 43, in the new book, You Thought You Knew, which chronicles the time together, blah, 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 blah. And he also said a silent alarm in his head was tripped for the first time when Spears started drinking while pregnant and on medication, saying that mix was dangerous, effed up, honestly. You're not supposed to drink when you're on meds. Like that, a couple of glasses of wine for her would hit like a whole bottle because of the medication. Federline writes that he tried to make excuses for his then wife, acknowledging just how difficult and how much pressure life is in the spotlight brought, and accepting that alcohol and medication were her coping mechanisms. Still, things reached a head at his not the album release party. Mr. Popo's album. Remember when he put out music? In October 2006, when he claimed Spears, who said she would stay home and watch the boys, including a 6-week-old Jaden, showed up unannounced and started doing booger sugar with an actress friend. A rep for Spears did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Federline writes that he was stunned by the whole ordeal, and while he wasn't judgmental of the decision to take drugs, he was concerned because both Preston and Jaden were breastfeeding at the time. Because you sit up here spilling all her tea, but word on the street was you was doing them drugs right alongside her. So I don't think you that innocent either, sir. But now you sit up here trying to act like you were just completely, you had no power, you had no kind of say so. You like as a husband and a father, where was that backbone? You wasn't doing nothing. You were just like, oh my God, she's breastfeeding. And first of all, here's another thing. Now, when he went and tried to run and get those Remember when he went and did the whole child support and the whole full custody of the kids and all this other stuff? Now is all of this all this documented when you wind up trying to get the full custody because Britney was crazy, 5150, all the other stuff. Is all of this in court documents saying that yeah, she was doing drugs and all this other stuff at the time? Or is this something you helped cook up with the help of her bitch of a sister, Jamie Lynn, and the father, where they help you conspire to come up with all this foolishness so that way you can just go in on Britney because all these no talent bastards wish I had an iota of what that girl had. So he went and said, I always pleaded and screamed to have a life with my boys. Oh, sorry, this is what Britney said because I forgot. Now we got to get into what Britney said because we've been alluding up to all of that. And look, Brittany told us what we need to know in her memoir, so I'm not reading this shit. I mean, although I am reading it because it's part of the situation, letting y'all know everything so y'all ain't got to actually go out and buy the book. I read Brittany's book. So she said, because she's tired of his gaslighting and saying it's extremely hurtful and exhausting. So she said, I've always pleaded and screamed to have a life with my boys. Relationships with teenage boys is complex. I've felt demoralized by the situation and I've always asked and almost begged for them to be a part of my life. Sadly, they have always witnessed the lack of respect shown by their own father to me. They need to take responsibilities for themselves. With one son only seeing me for 45 minutes in the past 5 years, and the other with only 4 visits in the past 5 years, I have pride too. From now on, I will let them know when I'm available. Well, girl, you should have been doing that. Trust me, those white lies in that book, they're going straight to the bank, and I'm the only one who genuinely gets hurt here. I will always love them, and if you really know me, you won't pay attention to the tabloids of my mental health and drinking. I'm actually a pretty intelligent woman who has been trying to live a sacred and private life the past 5 years. I speak on this because I've had enough, and any real woman would do the same. Absolutely. Because I was here before, but it was like, oh, well, Brittany just going to let it be or whatever case is because she don't want to hurt herself. I say, oh, fuck that. Because first of all, what you not going to do is sit up in here and piss all over everything that I built because you trying to squeeze more juice out of the goddamn lemon because the money has dried up from the child support that you no longer able to get. You already milked it an extra year when you decided to all of a sudden move yourself and your family over to freaking Hawaii because there was a loophole that you was able to do so that way you could get more money out of me. I let that shit rock. Now, here you go immediately a year after because now the funds is running a little low. Now you want to sit up in here and try to squeeze more juice out? Like, fuck you, sir, and fuck out of here. So, no, I'm tired of you like browbeating me. I'm not going to have it. Like, no, I've had it officially in the words of Detox. It's like, no, speak your shit, Brittany. Don't sit up here and let that man take advantage of you. So you over trying to be the sweet little Southern Belle. Fuck that. I'm about to get gutted with your ass. And if I was her, I would sue him. First of all, she would win because she got way more money. But then again, who wants to get caught up in litigation for years dealing with his tomfoolery? You either buy the book or you don't. People have read Britney's side of the story. She came out with the woman to me. It is what it is. Now, if you want to sit and support Kevin, you know, damn, what was the name that we came up with him for yesterday? If you want to continue to go out there and yeah, what was it, Cleveland? What was the name that you came up with Kevin Federline yesterday? We gonna have to keep calling him now. I forgot it, but it was like, yeah, we need to like screw him. I'm not supporting his behind. Um, and it is what it is. So yeah, that's the latest on this whole Britney KFed situation. And I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Will y'all still be out here supporting and buying this book? Do y'all care about this book? More stuff is coming out, which I have to say, thank you, reporters and bloggers or whatever who's spilling the tea that's in this memoir. All the sensationalism, y'all put it out there so that way y'all hear it. You don't have to go and read it in the book because it's like, yeah, he's spilling tea, but not really spilling tea. Because it's like, yeah, if you're gonna sit up here and talk about your first night with her and you're not gonna give detail, then why should we read the book? If you're gonna sit up and make accusations about drugs and this, that, and the other, say, oh yeah, she was up in here doing cocaine and all this. Oh, I'm sorry, booger sugar. If she's gonna be up there riding a white horse and drinking alcohol while she's pregnant with your kids, I mean, wouldn't there be kind of evidence in a system that if there was drugs in them over the years, you could have them kids tested? That would have been another way. Like, if this is true, that would have been a way that I'm like, okay, test the kids. There's cocaine in their system, whatever the case is, because she was over here breastfeeding them while they had the drugs up in there. And then you were just sitting, like, the way he is coming across in the book is like he just sat there and just allowed her to do everything that she was doing. And he just sat there and just come, oh, duh. Like, he just sat there while she's doing all of this and didn't say nothing. You didn't push back. You didn't, like shake her, and be like, "The fuck you doing? Like, why are you drinking and doing drugs around the kids?" And like I said, there should be evidence of this if you was going, because if my significant other was doing any of the stuff you basically said, and I really gave a damn about my children, all of this would be documented, and I'll be like, "Here's the evidence." So that way I can get full custody of these children and I will raise them. Now, would I be writing a book? No, I wouldn't, because I got integrity within myself. But KFed is a whore. And clearly, you saw dollar signs from the very beginning. You came in close proximity of this girl. And I do believe that she was just using him as an act of rebellion, but that act of rebellion clearly backfired. So anyway, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh yeah, I read that one already. It said, oh, Brittany's starting a podcast? Well, we want to hear that. Brittany posted a long message on Twitter. Yeah, I think that was the one that I basically read. She just posted it a couple of hours ago, and what was he doing? Just sitting there. He's doing a cash grab. He won't get any more money off it. No, he won't. But good luck. You better hope that book sell. All right, let's move on to our next topic. Now, speaking of somebody who's apparently getting a whole lot of money off of somebody who is way more famous than them, let's talk about Paris Jackson. So there's this story that's been running around that basically, I guess she's in litigation against the Michael Jackson estate, and they said that she has reaped $65 million in benefits from the estate. Speaking of which, a friend of mine was telling me, I think there was a Queens of the Stone Age concert or something or another, and Paris Jackson opened for them. I totally forgot she does music. So yeah, she apparently opened for them or whatever the case was. And he said she's not bad. But the 27-year-old, who is the only daughter of the King of Pop, has been involved in a lengthy legal proceeding this year over her allegations that lawyers are skimming money from the estate. Now, in a new filing in response to those claims seen by People, executors John Brinker and John McClain have hit back at allegations of its management, pointing out that Paris Jackson has received substantial benefits, saying, quote, few have benefited more from the business judgment than petitioner herself, who has received roughly $65 million from the estate in benefits. She would have never received that had the executors followed a typical playbook for an estate like this one in July of 2009. Well, how was she able to get her hands on that money then? Because you're sitting there talking about that she received $65 million from the estate. And why is she getting that kind of money? Like, what is she doing within the family that warrants her even getting that kind of money? So yeah, shout out to the Independent for this story, because they said that they went and contacted Paris's reps for comment on this situation, and I guess they haven't heard anything back. Now, despite his immense musical legacy, Michael Jackson's financial situation was widely reported to have been in disarray at the time of his death in late of June 2009. The recent filing from his executor quotes prior praise from a judge, as it states the executor's business judgment has taken the estate and started out as nothing but debt and substantial ongoing obligations and turned it into a $2 billion estate, an estate that is now a powerhouse and a force in the music business today. Probably because they've been kind of, you know, letting people use their music. Also, we have the Michael Jackson movie, which I know they hoping that that movie does not flop because a lot of the funds, the backing, the financial backing of this movie is coming from the estate. So this movie flops at the box office. Ooh, Molly, you in danger, girl. So there's that, and also the Michael Jackson musical, which one of the kids from On My Block is playing Michael Jackson. So that's doing pretty well. Is it still on Broadway or it might be traveling? I don't remember, but I think it might still be on Broadway. So then it said after Jackson's death, his estate beneficiaries were named as his three children, sons Prince, BG, and daughter Paris. However, in the past year, public rift has grown between Paris and the estate executors. She has repeatedly raised concerns about irregular payments being made from her father's estate. In a July 2025 legal filing, she expressed concern about the practice of executors granting so called premium payments for unrecorded attorney time. Jackson's legal team argued that the payments reflect poorly on the executors of the estate, writing these irregular payments raise serious and substantial questions about executors' ability to effectively supervise counsel and refraining from wasteful six-figure gift giving to themselves and their colleagues. The fee in question relate to work done in 2018 and the time it has taken the estate's executors to respond to the court questions about the payments is part of Paris's complaint. So yeah, so now there's like she's complaining and stuff. Now they're trying to say, "Oh well, look, you've been dipping your hands a little too much in the cookie jar too." So now we want to come and go after you as well. But I do agree if they doing some shenanigans and some shady shit behind the scenes, regardless of how you've turned Michael Jackson's debts into a $2 billion empire, I would raise concerns too, but what you're not going to do is try to flip it on me like, okay, so I'm doing some shenanigans as well. If there's evidence of that, then it needs to be brought forth in the courts. So now on August of 2024, it was reported that Jackson's estate had been given the go-ahead by LA appeals court to sell a portion of the late pop icon's songs to Sony Music Group for about $600 million. So it's like, yeah, look, Michael Jackson, we already know, had an affinity for being pretty extravagant with his spending. Hence why they're in a place of they were in massive debt. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make that money. But I'm trying to wonder, did Michael own his masters like Taylor Swift now does? I do wonder. But anyway, that's the latest on this story. And I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops. So in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Michael's daughter going against the estate and their drama? And they're saying she received $65 million. And I want to wonder, like, okay, so what was she received $65 million, what was that $60 million from? And was it illegal for her to acquire that kind of money? Like, there needs to be like a list of, I would think that if you're going to present this in a court, or courtroom or whatever the case was, that you would kind of be giving them like, okay, so we didn't approve of this, and this, and here she goes taking money and all this stuff. Like, I need to be evidence of this. Where's the evidence of like I'm taking things I ain't supposed to be taking and taking a little too much over the top? Like, where's the evidence at? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. After Paul McCartney went and bought the Beatles catalog, um, I thought it was more than that. Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I was like, that name sounds familiar. Teresa Espinal, I do remember her from Janet too. She been around. I mean, a lot of these dancers pretty much get around. They're working for a lot of the same artists. Now, we do know one person that Teresa Espinosa didn't dance for, Mariah Carey. Let's talk about Miss Mimi, who's going through it. So, speaking of rivalries and things, you had Paris Jackson going in and letting have on the estate, and now we got Mariah's brother coming out with some mess, basically saying that there's this uh fan group, whatever the case is, or YouTube channel that was basically going in on him and basically saying like they were making YouTube videos of Mariah fan, and Mariah apparently he trying to say was feeding this YouTuber defaming information about him. So Morgan Carey claimed that a new legal filing that one of Mariah's lambs, as her fans are known to be called, made defamatory statements about him while rehashing shocking claims the emotion singer made about her sibling in her 2020 memoir. So Morgan filed an amended lawsuit in March after becoming aware of the YouTube video created by a fan called Lamberly titled Morgan Carey, a deep dive into Mariah Carey's disturbing older brother. He initially sued Mariah in 2021, accusing her of defaming him in her memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, where the superstar accused him of being violent. A judge previously dismissed 14 of the 16 claims made in his original suit, and his appeal was denied, as they will say, in 2023. The new complaint claims that the individual identified as responsible for this video, one Lamberly, is within the employment and control of Mariah, and the statements in it were made by her both personally through Lamberly. And here's the thing. Now, is it evidence that Mariah was up in here feeding this person defaming information? And also, last I checked, if Mariah, the superstar, is speaking about things going on in her personal life regarding her family members, relationships, whatever the case is, don't she have a right to write what she's going to write about her experience with said family member, or whatever, in her book? But you want to sit and file these suits or whatever because you don't like what's being said about your sensitive ass. And now you have a lamb who's coming out doing full discourse. Which last I checked, there's many YouTubers that do full discourses on celebrities and family members who are of said celebrity, and you don't see them filing cease and desist and legal documents and trying to shut them down and all this other stuff. But now it's like anybody that say anything against Morgan, he got a problem. So the video rehashed Mariah's memoir claims that Morgan was physically violent towards their mom, Patricia Carey. Her husband and the siblings' father, Alfred Roy Carey, abandoned his family in 1973, but not without plenty of drama first. The documentary opened with Mariah reading a passage from the audiobook of her memoir about the incident revolving Morgan and Alfred, saying it took 12 cops to pull my brother and father apart, and yet my mother trusted him the most. He became her strong man, her protector, almost a father figure to her, a position that should never be filled by a son. This is what a Long Island native stated. And it's like, yeah, when the husbands abandon the family, then they start that, oh, you the man of the house now. And they put all the responsibility on the oldest son. And it's like, no, I should just be a kid. I shouldn't be the one that's running around having to take care of all the things that an adult is supposed to be taking care of. I'm not supposed to be fulfilling the void that left by a man you was fucking. I'm your son. And so that's one of the main things that I feel like that always fills in, I mean, kind of plays into trauma of adults or kids when they become adults, because it's like when a lot of the parents take a lot of the traumatic situations that they trickle that down on their kids, and then they wonder why their kids come out all messed up. Hence why there was also stories about Morgan being into the drugs and stuff, and then Mariah's sister, who I believe passed away, right? She was heavily into the drugs and ended up with the high five and all that other stuff. And so what was that? Oh, then he also said the piece also included clips of Morgan bashing his sister, where he was shown saying Mariah is someone who holds grudges and is not empathetic, is not compassionate, and sees the world only through the filter of her own ego, and is tragic. In another clip, Morgan sneered, the ego is so out of control that she feels like the rules of physics don't apply to her because she's Mariah Carey. The documentary's description box reads, in this video, we're taking a deep dive into the life of Morgan Carey, the older brother of pop singer Mariah Carey, from being involved in a 1980 Red Rum case to exposing his sister's bipolar diagnosis. Morgan is no stranger to controversy. It was first posted on December 26th, 2024, and has just over 235,000 views to date. The creator Lamberly, who has 11.5 thousand subscribers, does not provide a full name but does offer a business email under the same handle. And Lamberly's YouTube profile, it simply reads, I make videos and documentaries. Now, of the 12 videos posted by the user, all are related to Mariah, with titles including Why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Doesn't Want to Induct Mariah Carey versus Nicki Minaj. Well, I need to write. Watch that one. Mariah Carey versus Nicki Minaj, a deep dive into American Idol season 12, and Christina Marie Williams, the Mariah Carey fan who disappeared. Well, damn, I might have to go over there and give that website, I mean, that YouTube channel a gander. So, yeah, that's the latest on that. This like his other cases might just get thrown out. Like Morgan, you got the money to just be out here filing suits? Because like, what is it that you do for a living that all of this is warranted? But anyway, so I'll definitely be keeping abreast of the story as it develops. But I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding this story, whatever your thoughts are. Have you seen the videos over on Lambily regarding this thing about Mariah Carey and the talk about her brother and all this other stuff? Like, I remember the story because I told you I read the memoir. Well, actually, I didn't. I listened to it because I wanted to hear it read from Mariah. So I actually did have the Audible where I listened to it. Well, I was at the laundromat, actually. I was doing laundry and I was listening to Mariah's book. So when it came out. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. You didn't listen to it on Apple Music, whatever. I listened to it on Apple Music. It was cute. But I had to change it. I was like, when I saw that word, I was like, "Oop, red rum." Y'all seen The Shining? You know what that word mean? You said I did watch the Nicki one. They had a lot of drunk. Yeah, yeah, I remember the season of American Idol, but I definitely want to watch that one just so I could do. Hold on, let me look up Lambly while I'm here so I don't forget. Oh, now I'm starting to see the articles regarding the guy from Kiss. All right. Okay, okay, where we going? Where we going? Okay, so now let's get into since we talking about Nicki, let's talk about Mariah's good Judy. Let's talk about Nicki Minaj and this whole drama surrounding Trashy K. Speaking of cease and desist, she got hit with one, and you would think that old boxhead would have learned her lesson from Cardi B and the midget Kevin Hart. But apparently, no. She likes running off on her mouth and getting cease and desist or sued or whatever the case. I mean, she is hiding money allegedly. But yeah, but nevertheless, Diandre, the stylist or former stylist at this point. Hold on, because let me actually before I forget, because I didn't think to do this. Let me actually pull up the actual situation that Nicki posted, that Tasha K posted on her social media. I gotta make the photo. I didn't even think to do this earlier, so let me do this while I'm thinking about it now. Please hold. I'm gonna have to do a take two in action with this whole situation. Do you know your way to San Jose? Okay, so now let me take that out. Let me take this out. Take two and action. Okay. So now, since we talk about Mariah Carey, and let's talk about her good Judy, Nicki Minaj, and apparently Tasha K in this whole situation regarding her getting a cease and desist. Because, like I said before, old Boxhead don't seem to learn her damn lesson after, she said that mess about Cardi B, and Cardi B wants trying to clean her ass out, take her ass to the cleaners financially over the stuff she was saying. And the old midget Kevin Hart went and did it the second time. Now you have the stylist, who I guess we can call him an ex, has now sent Trashy K a cease and desist Diandre Tristan is his name, by the way. He's had enough officially. So now the well-known stylist who's worked with some of the biggest names in music sent Trashy K a cease and desist letter after she accused him of theft involving Nicki Minaj. Now, according to the legal document, Tristan's lawyers called Trashy K's post false and defamatory, demanding she immediately remove the content and issue a public apology, which you know is not coming because she's slow. The letter claims her statements were malicious and reckless and warns that failure to comply could lead to a defamation lawsuit seeking compensatory and punitive damages. The controversy started earlier this week when Trashy posted screenshots on social media claiming Nicki had filed a police report against Tristan, accusing him of stealing money. She even labeled him a thief in her caption and urged celebrities to hide your purses. Kind of like you hiding yours from Cardi because she has yet to get her damn money from your ass. But anyway, hold on. Let me pull this thing up before. Like I did all that work earlier. I might as well pull it up. Pull it up, pull it up. So yeah, there it is there. And in the thing, it says Barbie sent a message. I guess she sent this to Tasha. So clearly what it was Miss Barbie went, child, you're a grown ass woman calling yourself fucking Barbie. But anyway, so she went and sent this as a DM to Trashy to, I guess, do her dirty work. And now you see at the bottom it says on it. So she went, Diandre been stealing. I filed a report in Cali a couple of weeks ago. So it looks like he's not the only one that's been stealing money. A doctor was caught red-handed today as well. Is that the one you were allegedly buying your drugs from? And Diandre Tristan Stylist equals thief, report filed. And so, wait, why she put linebacker Ra Ali? It's like, bitch, you shaped like a linebacker your damn self. I know you're not trying to come for Ra Ali in the comments. And she said, and DeAndre Tristan, check out my latest YouTube video on a woman that said you scammed her and at Zara back in 2008. Who's shopping at Zara? Oh, and wait, for me to post your criminal history. Yes, I wiped the whole at SS from front to back with that. You said yes, I wiped my whole ass from front to back with that alleged cease and desist. Well, of course, kind of like you wiped your ass with that shit from Cardi B when she was trying to get you to give her money, because that's what you do. You sit and say all this defamatory stuff and then thinking that nobody's gonna come after your ass with it. So Tristan's team said those accusations are completely false. The letter also pointed out that Trashy should know better. Referencing her past bankruptcy case tied to another defamation judgment, Trashy, known as For Never Backing Down, addressed the cease and desist in her latest YouTube video. She read sections of the letter aloud. I'm surprised that she could read, saying she's not intimidated and plans to continue investigating the story, saying, I don't have any issue with him. I just found out and I'm following the paper trail. You don't have no issue with him, but yet I'm showing a post of Nicki basically posting something in your DMs and you're basically saying you're on it. So she gave you information to run with, you ran with it, and now you posting on social media talking about you got no problems. Bitch, yes, you do. You can't sit up here and say you don't have problems with somebody when you actually posting something about them on your page for clicks, likes, and monetary situations. And because we do make money off YouTube, let's be clear. And now you're sitting up here and trying to be like, oh, I don't have no problems with him. But what you posting and you making accusations calling somebody a thief with no evidence. But because you hearing hearsay from somebody, now we supposed to just run along and believe you when you've been notorious for not being entirely truthful. So at the end of the day, I guess I'm just surprised. Why is anybody surprised that this big built Dora Milaje reject is caught him in yet another, doing Nicki's dirty work for clicks and views? You would like at the end of the, like I said, you would have thought she would learn her lesson from Cardi, and you would have thought she would learn her lesson from Kevin Hart and so many others who have come at her for defamatory things that she said. But you know, she's slow. So not everybody learns the lesson. Sometimes people got to learn the hard way. And that's the latest on this story. So I'll definitely be keeping you guys abreast of the stories that develop. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you think of this story regarding Trashy K still running out here being Nicki's minion? Because clearly Nicki can't fight her own damn battles. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, that's why I said she didn't belong on that damn channel. Child, do not even bring up that old nasty person. The first one, Grayling Purnell. I remember my video went through the roof with that one. I wonder what the numbers on that is today. But I did that Grayling Purnell video, and you said Nicki always hiring scammers and okay, the main ones, and they be the main damn scammers and criminals. Or Grayling going around here having underage boys tattooing their name on his body on their body. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk some more homosexual news. Let's talk about Tyler Perry. So apparently, Tyler Perry is addressing the assault and harassment claims from actor Derek Dixon, who has accused the mogul of being inappropriate with him. So even if this story ain't true, I don't know. Look, I'm gonna just reserve my comments after I get through this article. So, on October 1st, Perry's legal team filed documents with the U.S. District Court Central Division of California, which I'm like, if y'all are in Atlanta, why are we doing California? Is it because there's a statute of limitation or something on that? I just want to know why it was filed in California. But anyway, so alleging that Dixon's SA lawsuit against Perry is profoundly disappointing, cynical, and most of all false. In June, Dixon accused Perry of quid pro quo sexual harassment, sexual battery, sexual assault, intentional infliction of emotional distress, retaliation, and more, according to court documents obtained by People and others. But People is doing the article, so that's where we're getting it from. Now, Dixon is seeking $260 million in damages from Perry and his production company, Tyler Perry Studios. The 37-year-old actor and Perry, who's 56, created a coercive, sexually exploitative dynamic between the two while Dixon was starring in Perry shows The Awful and Ruthless. Now, in the October filing, Perry's legal team argues that Dixon's accusations and lawsuit rely on Hollywood stereotypes and the bad acts of others as Dixon distorts and tries to turn sinister Mr. Perry's acts of platonic friendship and professional men. Child, don't nobody believe that. I mean, I'm sure Christian Keys would beg to differ. But anyway, so um Mr. Perry never assaulted Dixon or committed any sexual battery. He did not offer Dixon pay raises and shoot Dixon's television pilot script to threaten, coerce, or control Dixon. The file reads. They also said that he invents alleged assaults and encounters that never happened. The file continues, and it is notable that in his effort to exploit his friendship and professional relationship with Mr. Perry to obtain a $260 million payday, Dixon was forced to lie not only about Mr. Perry, but himself too. The filing further alleges that the suit is about Dixon's greed and avarice, not Mr. Perry's alleged and non existent harassment or abuse. The filing goes on to state that Perry looks forward to refuting each and every false accusation in court. Do I believe that something may have transpired between these two? I do. Now, do I believe that some of this stuff that Tyler Perry saying is truthful about Derek Dixon? I do. I do believe that it was y'all both are at fault here. I do believe that Derek was aware of Tyler Perry's sexual desires and appetites. He tries to suppress it like he's Donnie McClurkin, but we as those of us who know that homosexuality is embedded in your DNA. It is not something that you could pray away. It is not something you could deny, even though there are people within the black community that loves doing it, Tammy Roman. But that's not something that you could pretty much try to dismiss or get rid of, or as I said, pray away or erase or have it done, or electroshock therapy or whatever other foolishness that y'all want to come up with to get rid of something that is in mammals. Long before religion reared its ugly head or speech replaced sound language, there was a thing called homosexuality. But of course, when religion reared its ugly head and decided to come up with all these stupid rules that majority of y'all don't follow and like to cherry pick, now all of a sudden y'all want to sit up in here with this self-hating bullshit. And I do feel like there's some undeniable self-hatred that's going on within Tyler Perry in a tug of war where he don't want to fully embrace who he is. And I think that there was a moment of weakness between the both of them, and Dick and Derek Dixon saw dollar signs, kind of like what's that boy name? Kevin Federline seen dollar signs the moment he laid eyes on Britney. So I see that there's probably some situations going on up in there, but because he has the money and the power that he has, he feels like this could be a David and Goliath type situation. And because he feels like he is Goliath, that he can pretty much crush David because he is Mr. Mogul, all and powerful. But we know there's some shady sides to Tyler Perry. I mean, don't get Monique started. She got stories every time you put a microphone in front of her. So Perry's team alleged that Dixon did not file his lawsuit because of anything Mr. Perry did, claiming that Dixon took the legal action because Perry was not able to sell Dixon's television pilot to to Netflix. Additionally, Perry's team argues that Dixon filed the lawsuit in the wrong state. He filed in California, but Perry's team said the claim should have been filed in Georgia, where their production was filmed. Previously, the case was moved from the LA County Superior Court to California Federal Court. I forgot there is a reason why they said that they moved the court. Shout out to Mims, make it make sense. I know he did a story on this a couple of weeks ago. I forgot the reason why he said that he moved it to California. But I remember that he did a whole story on this whole situation a couple of weeks ago. So that I think in there I might have to rewatch it to find out what that was. But um so yeah, he's saying it should have been done in Georgia because I was saying that I was like, wait, why are we filing in California when y'all filmed it in Georgia? You know, Tyler Perry's studio was in Georgia. So they said by his actions and false accusations, it is clear that Dixon needs help, but he could not find it in this court. But he could find it with the money you're gonna pay him when he get it in court, allegedly. Or maybe not, who's to say? Although Dixon alleges that he was a victim of escalating sexual misconduct, he had no problem taking a role on season 2 of Mr. Perry's television series, The Oval. Dixon's attorney, Jonathan J. Delshad, in, issued a statement to People in responding to Perry's motion on Monday, October 13th, saying Perry's filing provides no evidence to corroborate that the text messages in our complaint are fabricated. Our complaint includes text messages where Mr. Perry made explicit sexual remarks to Mr. Dixon, questioned him about his sex life, and dangled professional opportunities based on those interactions, which is why I said that I believe that y'all both are at fault. I believe that Derek Dixon saw an opportunity and felt to exploit it until he could no longer exploit it. Tyler Perry was in a moment of weakness. There was some flirtation because you cannot sit up in there and tell me from them text messages I was reading that was not no man-on-man flirtation. Trust and believe, I know what that's like. As a homosexual myself, I think I know a flirtation when I see one. So, do I believe that there was some flirtation going on between these 2? And what I don't understand is when these people coming around talking about, you trying to take a black man down, or they ever trying to take a black powerful man down. Last time I checked, said powerful black man was the one up in there with the moment of weakness towards that white bus. So why is it that we always want to blame when other people try to take a black man down? When we going to hold black men accountable for the things that they do? I hold all people accountable. I don't give a good goddamn what their race, sexual orientation, or gender is. If you do something where you're taking advantage of people, that's what we should be focusing on. Of you not using your power to take advantage and doing quid pro quo type shit. We should be holding people accountable for all of that. But no, y'all always want to get focused on, you're trying to take a wealthy black man. As if you getting a piece of that financial pie. But that's what y'all want to sit up in there and defend. So they said no employer has a right to manipulate or threaten an employee's livelihood based on sexual expectations. This is what Delshad said. We are certain that we will be able to prove to a jury that sexual harassment, assault, and battery absolutely happened. I'm convinced that Mr. Dixon is not the only one. Hold on as I reapply my chapstick. Wasn't Christian Keys mentioned in this story earlier when I just kind of slid that in? He not the only one. No employee has so yeah, they said that he wasn't the only one, and that soon others will be sharing stories about Mr. Perry. My client is not intimidated by wealth, influence, or the celebrity status. He want a piece of that wealth, but he's not intimidated by influence or the celebrity status of Mr. Perry. Nobody is above the law. We are committed to holding Mr. Perry accountable to the full extent of the law. Dixon previously claimed that he and Perry met in September of 2019 while working on the opening party for Tyler Perry's studio studios in Atlanta. Over the next few months, Perry often texted him, sometimes with suggestive advances, but also that he wanted to find Dixon a job and change his life, Dixon alleged in the compliment. By November 2019, Dixon claimed that Perry offered him a small role on Ruthless and allegedly sexually assaulted him at Perry's home in January of 2020, which mirrors a lot of something that Christian Key said. That he didn't mention no name, but he basically said that he was drunk. He was in the laid down in the man's house. Then all of a sudden he was trying to grab and pull his pants down and like violate his penis and all this other stuff and groping him and all kinds of mess. He didn't mention the name, but all of a sudden when he mentioned her name in that Instagram live that we talked about on this show, what was it, like a year ago? Who name immediately popped up in people's radar? Everybody was saying it was Tyler Perry. So we're not gonna sit up here and try to act like that nobody has this thought floating in their mind that Tyler Perry might be a part of the LGBT LMNOP community. So they also said that in the filing, Dixon then recounted a moment after filming The Oval when Perry invited him to his trailer. Perry allegedly pinned Dixon to the wall and began aggressively groping Dixon's butt in a sexual motion. Dixon claimed that he was primarily groped during a cast trip to the Bahamas in October of 2020. 2 months later, he visited a physician who indicated that Dixon exhibited severe symptoms of acute stress, insomnia, stomach issues, and dangerously low cortisol levels due to the sexual harassment and assault that prescribed him Zoloft, an antidepressant. Here y'all go immediately going with the damn antidepressants and prescription medication. We see how you doctors work. But nevertheless, Perry allegedly invited Dixon to his house again in June of 2021 to discuss Dixon's pilot for his show Losing It, where Perry allegedly sexually assaulted Dixon per the complaint. And my thing would have been like, why do you keep going back after that whole situation? It's not worth it. But then again, I guess when you feel like I'm this nobody and I'm just deal with the bullshit just so that way I can get put on, which is what a lot of times men do. And then another thing is men are not believed when they speak about sexual assault. A lot of times, why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you do this? You a man. You know, we get so caught up in that toxic masculinity situation when it comes to assault. And many men get assaulted, but they won't say anything because of that. And it's like when you have somebody who's in a powerful position that has your career in your hands, and we've seen the power that Tyler Perry wields, where people have been blacklisted when they speak out against him. So we're not going to sit up here and try. So on one hand, I can understand why it's like, well, why don't they speak out? But then when you do speak out, the blacklisting happens. This is crazy how some people have a dream to want to be a star or to be or to be an artist, to be creative or whatever the case is, and their dreams get stomped on because you get these vultures, these whore pit vipers that come into the that are in the industry that sit up in here and they see some pretty face or they see some hot guy, and because they're sexually repressed or they get their jollies off of sexually abusing people or using their power to get what they want out of the little man, that they sit up in here and just ruin lives and just and crush dreams. So in January 2023, Dixon informed Perry that he's moving to Cali to put some distance between them. Although Dixon continued to star on The Oval, he left during the show's final season. The decision, he claimed, resulted in him losing out on close to $400,000. So yeah, there's that. That's the latest. Um and hold on, let me put this up here. So if you ever been sexually assaulted, call that national hotline. So we're gonna put that up there. You know, I want to do my due diligence. So yeah, so I say all this to say, hold on. What do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on Tyler Perry? I will definitely keep you guys abreast of the story when they go down to the courthouse and they make this a thing in the courthouse where it goes to trial, whatever case is, and we'll see how it all works out. I'll definitely keep you abreast of this story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Yeah, oh no, that story is coming up. That's the next. Well, I got it's after the next story. The next story is Charlie Sheen, and then we're gonna get into the Luigi story. I mean Luigi, the Lightyear story. I don't know why I was thinking of Luigi Mangione right now, but when Tyler makes his gay character, child. Don't even get me started on that. I always be noticing that, like, every time when you talk about, like, when there's Tyler Perry, whatever, a lot of his characters are down low. I do want to see that show, the one that had its second season on Netflix. I seen the little pictures and clips and things where he got a gay couple or something on there. Yeah, like in For Color Girls, where Janice character asked if he was the huncher or hunchy. Are you doing the bending? Sure. So who she asked that to? That wasn't Christian Keys. That was what's his name? Omari Hardwick. Wasn't that who that was? Are you doing the bending? And my thing is, when I hear "Are you doing the bending," I always thought that was like, okay, you say like, "Are you the one that's bending over and touching your toes?" So are you the bottom? But they were trying to say, "Oh no, that's a term of like if you topping somebody." I'm like, doesn't make sense to be like, "Are you doing the bending?" As in you're the top bending somebody over. It's like, no, are you bending over and parting your cheeks? That's what I would have been like. That's what "Are you doing the bending" to me sounds like. But whatever. That part, especially after I just saw that recent thing. Hold on, because Lady Bunny went and posted that earlier, and I know I posted it um in my thing about where is it? Because I know I had it in here, and it was something about damn. Did I post this Michael Jackson daughter thing twice? Let me delete that. Um, yeah, because there was a thing regarding where'd it go? Oh, they said United Healthcare at UHC, and they tagged them too, just denied a claim on one of my patients in the ICU with a brain hemorrhage, in a coma, on a ventilator, and heart failure because I haven't proven to them that caring for her in the hospital was medically necessary. And they wrote, tear it all down. And this is what Zachary D. Levi, not the actor, MD, wrote on Twitter. And child, and that's when I wrote Free Luigi. That's what I wrote. I was like, and I stand 10 toes down on that shit. I'm like, first of all, how somebody got a like in a coma, brain hemorrhage, all kinds of stuff, and United Healthcare talking about they not gonna cover it? Fuck out of here. And y'all wonder why Luigi did what he did. And I'm not condoning it, but it's like if y'all gonna sit out here and literally just be murdering people because y'all don't want to cover someone's in a life or death situation, that last I checked, we as a people are buying into this insurance only for y'all to deny it. Oh hell no. I'm going scorched earth. Huh. But these corporations, they don't get it because they don't give a shit. All they care about, all this insurance stuff, it's all a scam at the end of the day. But anyway, let's get into some homosexual news. Wait, hold on. How many more topics we got? Oh, I didn't get to my final four yet. So I was like, because I was going to be like, oh, that was a little premature. But anyway, let me start that over again. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some homosexual news. Let's talk about Charlie Sheen, who apparently, word on the street, he out here, he looking for, well, he found himself a new love. I was trying to do a little Jody Watley and say he looking for a new love. Well, apparently, he done found it. And word on the curb is Charlie's got a man at home. Not Shantae, but Charlie. So, according to some reports, the 60-year-old is dating a regular guy who is not from the entertainment industry. According to his friends, his new relationship has changed him in many ways, and shout out to Reality T for this, and I've seen some other blogs that will talk about this too. So yeah, we'll take it with a grain of salt, but they putting it out there, let's talk about it. So Sheen has reportedly been single since sobering up in 2017. Before that, he was married 3 times. He first tied the knot with Donna Peel, then he married Denise Richards, and lastly exchanged vows with Brooke Mueller before leading a single life. Charlie is no longer hiding his love life. He is currently in a relationship with a younger man and is completely smitten by him. And if sources are to be believed, the Platoon star's new love life has brought positive changes in him. According to Rob Shooter, so yeah, go after him because he's the one that's saying it. Don't come after me. I'm just the messenger. Insiders told this young man has nothing to do with the business. One longtime friend stated that due to his current relationship, the actor is glowing. He's calmer, grounded, and genuinely happy. This guy's changed him. Now, Charlie Sheen's romance with the mystery man began earlier this summer, and it wasn't some Hollywood setup, saying they met through mutual friends in Malibu, and it seems they soon hit it off. What an A-lister loved about the man is the fact that he's not an actor or celebrity, just a regular guy with a normal job. And what I like about this too is that the fact that this young man has no problem dating somebody who's HIV positive and undetectable. Because I was watching this video, shout out to Matt Cullen. He recently did a video about it was like some porn star back in the day who said he fluffed Al Parker. I'm like, child, what was that like? He asked that, he was like, that's a whole lot of fluffing because if y'all seen Al Parker, that's classic porn, vintage porn. So anyway, yeah, so he went and he was saying basically that as somebody who is, I think he said he's 69, and there's like this whole thing where I guess he said he feels like he got to put himself out there, but nevertheless, that a lot of he's been going on dates, but they don't really stick because people have a problem A with him being older, and B the fact that he's HIV positive, and there's still this stigma that surrounds people who are HIV positive, and it's like, well, child, first of all, with all the shit y'all be doing, because and I'm not judging, I'm just saying that y'all be the stuff that y'all be up in here doing all kinds of cream pies and DPs and CDs. If you know LMNOP, y'all know what a CD is. Mhm. But anyway, so yeah, y'all doing all kinds of other stuff. No problem. Having all kinds of unprotected sex. Don't even be confiding in people what y'all status is. But you go judge somebody that's actually open about their status, who's undetectable, and which means untransmittable if you are undetectable. If you're taking your meds, if you have unprotected sex, which I have done with many a men, many a times, with me being negative. So let me put that out there. I don't want nobody spreading no damn lies and rumors. And I meant having sex with many of positive guys who are undetectable and have been open and honest about that, and I've been fine. So yeah, the discrimination, there's still a discrimination behind that. So I'm surprised that Charlie Sheen, if this story is true, is with a man, a younger man, who's very much open-minded in regards to that. And I'm glad that Charlie Sheen has gotten himself together. Because here's the thing, Charlie Sheen was good looking back in the day. I used to think he was cute when I used to watch old movies of him, like when he was in Lucas and many other movies that he's done in the past. Charlie's a cutie. And the fact that he was able to finally find, maybe that was the reason why he was doing the drugs and all the other stuff that he was doing. Maybe it was, you know, when you're coming up in the industry and you're not comfortable with your sexual. I'm not saying he's gay, but when you're gay or bisexual, there's a lot of and he's Latino. There's a lot of some, there's a lot of sexual suppression and repression that comes with that. So when you're dealing with not trying to come to terms with who you are sexually, a lot of times gay men or bisexual men will hide behind drugs to mask that, or use drugs as an excuse for them to explore their sexuality. Oh, I was on crack at the time, because he did kind of say that in the book. And people have said things like that as well. So now Charlie Sheen's romance with the mystery man, they said, yeah, they like the fact that he's a regular guy with a normal job. Maybe that's what for Lopez need. She need her a regular man with a normal job, and then somebody who will give her all the love that she needs. But she also said that the reason why it wasn't just always the men that was given whatever they could or whatever, or they weren't capable, but she didn't love herself either. And I said, "Oh, look, sis, finally finally coming to terms with and being open and honest about her own ish too." She said that on Howard Stern, because I did see them clips. So um for now, they said the couple is keeping their relationship private. He's not hiding it, he's protecting it, as he should. Thus, instead of going to events, they prefer quiet nights at home together. They cook, watch old movies. It's sweet, quiet, and healthy. You want to know something? That would be the type of relationship I would want, because I'm not someone like, if I'm going out, it's for work and all this other stuff. But if I'm in a relationship, it's like, nah, I don't want to go out. I want to sit at home. Let's cook. Let's sit and we eat. We hang out. If we want to invite friends over and and bask and have them kind of bask in our love, like friends who are in relationships, not single haters, but people who are in relationship like us, and we kind of have a little thing, have them come over, we'll have some cook some food, watch some movies, play some games, key. Like to me, that's the kind of relationship I want. I'm very much a homebody. I only go out if I need to. So they said this is not the first time the Golden Globe winner has shown interest in men. As y'all remember, he revealed that his first sexual encounters with men began when he was into drugs, which I think I don't need to reiterate. I already said what I said is why people do, my theories on that. And he said that's what started it. He told Good Morning America's Michael Strahan in the interview. He also admitted that talking about his past encounters after hiding them for years is liberating. Further, Sheen has even been candid about his past experience with men in his memoir, The Book of Sheen, and the Netflix documentary, aka Charlie Sheen. So if this is what's finally making him happy and finally come to terms with who he is, and you know what? The older a lot of people get, the less they give a fuck what other people think about what they're going through or whatever the case is. So if this story is true, congratulations, Charlie. I'm glad that you found love in a hopeless place and is with somebody of the same gender rather than you out here treating women the way you was treating them and the prostitutes and all that other mess that was going on in your crazy past. And so, yeah, shout out to you. So I say, oh, let's say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you believe this story from Rob Shooter that yes, Charlie Sheen found him some love with a man? And he's all happy and protecting and living his best life and doing whatever. And so this is a win for the homosexual community. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Yes, Charlie, love that journey for you. Not see you at drag brunch. Charlie just turned 60 and something. Yeah, he's a Virgo. Shout out to my people. And he said, not you Googling Al Parker. And he said, I think I told you when I was in my 20s, someone I thought was my friend started telling people I was HIV positive. People, yeah, because, they always associate being homosexual with having the high five. Yeah, I think it took a long time for Charlie to accept himself. That's why I feel like it is. Jennifer is too high maintenance for a regular guy. Okay. Yeah, I'm a homebody too. If I'm in a relationship, I wouldn't want to go out. I want to stay home and try Shut up. But after a while, when you get tired, after you get tired of that, um, after you get tired of, you know, what they call Christian in every part of the house, then you want to do other stuff. Now the peen can get the sheen. You a poet and you know it. All right, y'all. So now let's talk about it. Let's get into Snoop Dogg. So apparently, it didn't take him long to shift faster than a goddamn politician in regards of his stance on the homosexual community. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago that he decided to do an interview with some dingbat on her podcast. Don't remember the name, don't give a shit. But anyway, he went on a podcast. He went over there, decided to just have this whole conversation about how he had a hard time. They want to explain to his grandchild how two women were able to have a baby, which we all said you could just said the child was adopted, or that the baby was from a previous relationship with one of the mothers, and and then she's now in a relationship with a new person, and now she's the other mommy. I mean, there's many a children's books and things of another that talk about how what is it? Dylan had two daddies or mommies, whatever. There's many a books out here about gay penguins, or children's books that talk about homosexuality in a way for them to understand. And kids don't grow up being homophobic. It is a taught behavior from a bunch of ignorant ass goddamn people who apparently have a hard time realizing or accepting the fact that different people exist in the world. So if people want to get on that, I don't want to have to explain that to my kid. Well, then fucking don't. Then what's going to happen is eventually your kid is going to find out when they go to school and they see Dylan got two mommies that came to pick him up, and now they sitting there baffled, like, where your daddy? This is my daddy. I was born via artificial insemination. So, there's all types of different ways and things, but he didn't want to explain it. He saw some backlash from the situation. The Levitical community decided to come out, and now glad fake asses decided to join forces with, but I ain't surprised by that. They're a bunch of goddamn Zionists anyway. So that's why I don't really particularly care for them. But and they only care about white homosexual bullshit. So they don't really, they don't really partake in wanting to help queer people of color. So that's why I don't really see it for GLAAD. They always looking for donations. Here's your donation. So apparently, Snoop Dogg has partnered with GLAAD to support Spirit Day, the Biblical Plus Youth Anti-Bullying Initiative. Now, as part of the campaign, the rapper sat down with The Voice alum Jeremy Belote, a member of the Levitical Plus community who was part of Team Snoop on NBC reality series, for a special Spirit Day conversation. They discussed a recent collab on a new song titled Love is Love, which is featured on Snoop's animated children YouTube series Doggyland, which I did see. With that, he did disable the comments. So on the interview that he did and the Doggyland trailer that I saw earlier, because when I was putting this together, I had to get those clips of the video. Yeah, he disabled the comments because he knows that the neighborhood talk and the shade room, homophobes was going to come up in the comments with they bullshit, and he didn't want to hear it. Or people like me who's coming in here kind of side-eyeing the situation. Now, I am of two minds with this. But before I get to my two mind situation, I should further read along with what they said. So they said it's a beautiful thing that kids can have parents from all walks and be shown love, to be taught what love is, being able to have parents from all walks of life, whether it be two fathers, two mothers, whatever it is, love is the key. Well, it'd been nice if you would have said that when you went on that interview and said what you said, but you decided to go on that show and act like a complete ass and didn't think that people was going to come back and drag your ass over it. Now, I will say this, I am of two minds. Like, on one hand, I am all for people, when you know better, you do better. If you're willing to grow and all this other stuff, I'm here for you wanting to take a different stance to grow, whatever. But I guess what it feels like to me is that maybe it hit your pocket some sort of way, because wasn't Felix, did you have this conversation? You said that you thought that Snoop was an ally. I said, child, so a lot of people thought that Tammy Roman was too. Until she said that dumb shit she said yesterday on that Candy Burris podcast. A lot of times people think that allies are what they are, but you have to, and then I know people get mad when these, well, there's other races and stuff that think this way. So we ain't talking about them. We're talking about I know it's hard for a lot of y'all to do, but I like to focus on the situation at hand. So when mostly the situation is coming from black people saying this shit and black celebrities that's saying this, then I'm going to comment on black households and how homophobia is deeply rooted within the black community, specifically in the church. So we're not going to sit up here and try to act like it doesn't exist there. Now, if I want to sit up here and some Latina came out, or Latino came out and said some shit, me growing up Roman Catholic, and they want to bring that up, then I can speak on that too. But they haven't said nothing yet, so I'm not addressing that. I'm addressing Snoop Dogg, who's a black man last I checked. So if people have a problem with me addressing a specific community, find the nearest bridge and jump. I don't give a shit. So what else was I gonna say? So in the book, or in the children's show, I should say, Bella Belote voices a puppy named Zippy, who joins the Doggyland pups to sing Love is Love, a song that celebrates the love shared among families. Snoop, meanwhile, voices Bow Wizzle, one of the show's main characters, saying our parents are different / no two are the same, but the one thing that's for certain is that love won't change, the pup sings, as several same-sex couples appear on screen. Families are special. They are so unique. Everybody's got a purpose, more than you will see. We love you, parents. We love you so. So now the problem with this is, like, I'm here for diversity and all this other stuff. Child, now this feel like the same shit where the MAGA want to come out and be like, okay, it just feels a little too preachy. It feels a little, so now this is where I use woke in a sentence, because now it feels like, oh, y'all trying to pander. Kind of like when RuPaul said what she said about the trans community, and they dragged her ass, and now she felt the need, I need to overcompensate for my transphobic comments by trying to put more trans people on the show, and we're gonna make sure they make it. Even if they don't win, we're gonna push them to the top 4, even though they shouldn't be there. Lexi Love, you should have been eliminated, and I still stand 10 toes down on that. Your ass should have been, the way you was coming off in that last season, you should have been eliminated long before you got eliminated. But I guess, people don't want the backlash, so now we got to do this DEI shit. That's the way it be feeling. Like, I feel like if it's a natural situation, then it should feel that way. But it doesn't feel that way with this whole situation. This is why I'm feeling a little cynical about it, and I'm side-eyeing the situation. Like, I'm not buying what y'all selling. It just feels like it's you're pandering a little too hard and you're overcompensating. Like I said before, if it was coming from a place of I fucked up, I learned my lesson, I realized that what I said came from a place of just ignorance. I should have known better, especially as someone who's been in the music industry or the entertainment industry for over 30 years. I've encountered and have worked around and have been around many of queer people. And you've seen, for example, a lot of the people you've probably been around are in same sex relationships and have children, but you decide to go on a YouTube show and spew some bullshit because you were pandering to a certain demographic over there. And now it feels like you pandering to another demographic over here, and now all is supposed to be forgiven. I'm not buying it. It just feels a little pandering to me. So it's cute or whatever. Do you want to incorporate some some queer puppies or whatever the case is in this show? Then go ahead. You do that. So I hope that you're gonna sit your grandson down and let him watch Doggy Land, and then he can sit up there and sing them little songs that you're gonna have to explain to him how, you know, this doggy has two parents of the same gender and it's not gonna fuck him up because apparently it fucked you up. That you had to say that's his words that it fucked you up that you had to address this. So hopefully, this is easy enough for your grandson to watch, so you don't have to explain to him how whatever the gay pup or whatever the puppy is got two gay parents or whatever the case is. So whatever. Let me know if y'all gonna be watching this show, if you're gonna have your kids watch the show, or even if you buying into this panderation situation with Snoop and Glad. I roll my eyes at Glad and the Human Rights Campaign. Y'all go all suck a ding-a-ling from the back. But then again, I shouldn't be telling them to suck that. They might actually do it. So let me know what y'all guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay. Snoop Dogg don't stand for nothing. That's another thing too. I'm so sick of celebrities who don't really stand for shit. Y'all just go where the wind blows. It's him, that professional tap dancer Stephen A. Smith. Like y'all really don't stand on nothing. Y'all just go where the wind blows. I can't trust no ninja like that. I have a good relationship with my nieces and nephews. I have three of each. I do worry about them becoming homophobic, but I want them to grow. Well, look, that's where you come in as the uncle, and you show that a lot of these negative things, and it's crazy that we have to do that. Like we have to be the prime example of like when people think of homophobic this and homophobia that, that is like you come in and you show like, oh no, you're not like those stereotypes, and that some of the things that your parents are telling you ain't necessarily accurate. Oh yeah, I was like, now here's your donation. I gave him both fingers. It said, but I think I've done pretty good with them around that because but Snoop has been making lots of mistakes lately. His homophobic comments performing for Trump. Exactly. That's like you just that is exactly. That's what he stands for. He stands for a check. And as long as them checks come rolling in, then he'll continue to grift where he feels strong enough to grift. But I'm not buying it. So you keep it up, sir. All right, y'all. So now I was gonna say I should did my top four. I forgot to do it. So anyway, we got three more topics left. So before we get to those final three, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. Now, without further ado, let's get into more homosexual news. Let's talk about Noah Schnapp. Now, I don't particularly care for him because he's a Zionist asshole. based off of some of the videos and stuff that I remember seeing in the early stages of the whole Israel-Hamas situation and some of how he's behaved on social media. Don't particularly care for him, but he is a member of the Levitical plus community. So, and this whole story regarding how the press was towards a child bothered me. So I felt like let's make this a topic, even though I don't particularly care for him. But nevertheless, let's get into excuse me. Let's get into the story. I was like, wait, don't I have a picture of him somewhere? I was like, wait, child, I hate when I can't find stuff in here. Okay, I got it. So now, Noah Schnapp basically joined his Stranger Things co-stars on the cover of Time magazine and recalled journalists prying for information about his sexuality during press junkets when he was just a young teenager. I also heard some stories regarding, well, I'll get into the other thing that I heard about Stranger Things in a second once I'm done with this. So let me focus on that. So Snap publicly, as y'all know, came out as a homosexual in January of 2023 at 18 years old. Public scrutiny surrounding his sexuality had persisted for years, especially as Stranger Things worked toward his character, Will Byers, coming out as a homosexual on the show. Saying, when I was younger, I was obviously very scared of talking about it, Schnapp told the publication. They would pry and ask me, is he gay? Are you gay? I was 12, 13. I didn't know what to say. Oh, that rhymes, by the way. Schnapp confirmed in July 2022 interview with Variety that Will Byers was a homosexual. Now, Stranger Things 4 was dominating the Netflix charts at the time, and the series had put Will's sexuality front and center. When the album publicly came out in social media post months later, he wrote, I guess I'm more similar to Will than I thought. Once I did fully embrace that Will was gay, it was sort of an exponential speed towards accepting it for myself. Snap later told Variety in a cover story. I would be in a completely different place if I didn't have Will to portray and to embrace and help me accept myself. I think if I never played that character, I was probably still would be closeted. Snap remember how his original comments about Will being gay blew up in the press, and the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Much to his surprise, he added, everyone was like, oh, Will's gay? Hooray. I saw all these comments on Instagram and TikTok. There was not one bad thing about him being gay. I was like, if he has all this support, then why should I worry about anything? So, um, I'm glad in a way that him coming to terms with all that the show helped him come to terms with his own sexuality in real life. Maybe the Duffers kind of sensed it from the beginning when they cast him, or maybe there was, who knows, maybe there was intention for Will, or maybe that when they were working with him, they kind of sensed it in him, and they just like, let's write it into the show, kind of like how they wrote in Elliot Page's transness when she was on the Umbrella Academy, but or he was sorry when he was on the Umbrella Academy, because remember transition. So kudos to him for that. But I do feel like it's very inappropriate that that press people are asking a child if he's a homosexual. Like that's none of your damn business. And first of all, when you should, well, maybe they don't understand because they're ignorant and they're stupid and they're probably not even gay. But when you're young and you're going through puberty and you're still dealing with things going on in your life and you don't and you're dealing with a lot of feelings and wrestling with feelings and stuff that's going on inside, you don't necessarily like, how are you trying to force me out of it's the same thing like with Barbara Walters rude ass asking Ricky Martin if he was a homosexual, and he felt like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you, like, take this moment to give you the satisfaction of knowing my tea, so you would that way you could break the internet. Well, you couldn't break internet because the internet wasn't the internet at the time. You could break the ratings on, was it 2020? It might have been 2020. Or the most beautiful people, one of that dumb show that she was doing. So it's like, I'm not gonna give you that moment. And it's like people have to come to terms with their sexual orientation at their own time. Now, and then also I remember hearing the story about Stranger Things, that how a lot of the cast saying that they're worried that this final season that y'all gonna hate it, like, or rip it apart, like y'all ripped apart Game of Thrones final season. Well, the final season for Game of Thrones, to be fair, was lackluster. However, as I said earlier, because I was saying with Finn Wolfhard, I said, look, all you could do is show up to work one time, stand on your mark, say your lines, and put it all behind you. You can't worry about what the fandom is going to be saying about a show that they love. Because at the end of the day, this is up to the Duffer Brothers for them to create what they want to create. And if and I don't think they were rushed. Like I feel like they said that the Game of Thrones final season that they went through hell with that final season and HBO and all the other mess that was going on with them. So I feel like they were able to kind of do what they wanted to do to wrap the show up in their own way. So I don't think I mean you can't please everybody. So just do what like I said, show up, say your lines, do what is in the script and keep it moving. You can't worry about what the fandom and stuff is like because a lot of people out here never satisfied about anything. But at the end of the day, like I said, even though Noah Schnapp, I don't like some of the things that he been doing up in here, especially with how he would mock Palestinians and all the other mess. Like that pissed me off with him, and I don't want to say nothing else even more disrespectful, like any more curse words. So I'm gonna keep it to myself because he's still young. However, and maybe he'll learn better and grow up and do better. But yeah, it's kind of gross when when people are coming up in here and just getting trying to get all up in a child's personal business when they don't even know when they haven't even become comfortable with their own sexuality. So that was just pretty stank on those reporters' part. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Noah Schnapp revealing that yeah, the press basically was getting all up in his business regarding whether or not they wanted him to come out in front of all of them at 13 or 12 or 14. Like that's a bit evasive, it's just nosy and it's rude. So and I'd have been none of your fucking business. I mean, I would have been known as a rude little shit of a kid, but yeah, it's like, why do you ask me that? First of all, that's just gross. So for you to be asking me that, not being homosexual is gross. But let me know, regardless of what you think of this story, in the comments down below. He said, but why a grown up reporter's trying to exactly? It's like yeah, I can't with these senses too. Like I gotta be careful with some of the words that I have to say on here. It's so annoying. Which is why a lot of times I have to cut up certain topics and even put them on it because sometimes I'm not even able to monetize the full show because of some of the language that I use. So that's why I found the loophole and I have to do clips or cut up the segments and post them and then those usually get monetized. I can none of the Austin Wolf ones I couldn't monetize because of the subject matter. Anyway, when I was 13, I was so scared to come out. My dad told me if I found out I was gay, he disowned me. Exactly. And you don't necessarily know like the upbringing that Noah Schnapp had and some of the things that he probably said. Because kids are taught to believe that homosexuality is wrong or whatever. So kids struggle. And then like with the whole thing with Tammy Roman's daughter, it's like when you start saying the things you saying and you making it all about you instead of her, what you pretty much done was set up a situation where she doesn't feel comfortable enough to want to confide in you about their relationships or wherewithal. So that's why queer kids go elsewhere, where they should come to their parent and confide in them about whatever they're going through with their same-sex relationship. Whereas now, because your other sibling is in a heterosexual relationship, oh, your confirmation bias allows you to be more comfortable with that because that's something you've been taught to believe is more acceptable. And to this day, we don't have a great relationship. I only talk to him when I go visit my parents. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, and then you get to a situation where it's like, I don't feel comfortable where I can even talk about my sexuality around you or be myself. What you're telling me to do is to shrink a part of who I am, that I have to diminish and shrink myself down because you're not comfortable with me being fully me. So I have to hide a part of myself. And people don't realize like what that does to your mental health, what that does to your physical body. Like people get sick over stuff like that. Not you talking about you want him to die. His character agrees speculating on a minor is inappropriate. They should stick. Why can I never take you seriously? It's like when you about to just say something that's like, oh, yeah, I agree, and then here go to read, here go to joke. Keep them coming though. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of people hoping that Buyer will be in game and become Wait, you said Byler will be Endgame and become canon? I wanted to be two different male characters, but whatever. Oh, you talking about wait, who's the other character? Are we talking about Finn Wolfhard? Because remember, he had a crush on him in the show. And I think did he profess his love or did he still talk around it? I don't remember. I haven't seen that last season in so long. I'm 49 and my dad still won't meet my friend. See? Yeah, that's what Will Byers and Mike Wheeler. Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, I didn't know they combined the names. Yeah, Finn Wolfhard plays Mike, right? But they kind of didn't make them I don't know, because Mike kind of was off doing his own thing with 11. And he did profess his love to him in so many words. Okay. Now I would have loved to have seen that one. Okay, so now, all right. So now let's get into some drag race news. So I guess the Latinas should rejoice because we're getting a All Stars season featuring Latina queens. But here's the thing: it's going to be Drag Race Mexico, Slajon Royale, and this was announced after we had the finale of Drag Race Philippines, Slajon Royale. It's me, or was it the longest season of a season that we've had? I feel like that Slajon Royale season went on forever. But nevertheless, I enjoyed it. I'm currently into Drag Race UK. I haven't watched the recent one. I gotta watch that one. That's the girl group episode, and they had Nadine from Girls Aloud on there. So I gotta watch that one. And Drag Race France, I gotta catch up on that too, because I just recently saw an interview with oh my god, how did I forget the damn the host Nikki Doll. Nikki Doll did a recent interview. I guess she got a new album coming out. She was promoting the new album and she was talking about how she wants to tour with it. And I think they're doing a tour of the Drag Race France All Star Queens, but they're only doing France. They ain't going worldwide. I kind of wish they would, or maybe they're not that interesting where they would do that. But nevertheless, that's the latest. Or enough people don't care where they can travel. So anyway, so a brand new RuPaul's Drag Race All Star spinoff is exclusively featuring Latina queens have been announced. So you would think at this part that Roxy Andrews would be excited. But they said, World of Wonder, the production company behind Drag Race, announced on today, October 16th, that new franchise Drag Race Mexico Latino Royale would spotlight Latin queens from different shows across the global Drag Race franchise. Somebody said, and I was like, yeah, that's genius. Somebody said they should have called it Drag Race Mexico Slatina Royale. I was like, oh, that's perfect. Because first of all, Alaska has a song called Slatina, which I like. And that kind of goes into the Slatina. Y'all need some people that really know how to come up with some words, like some wordsmiths. Y'all need some of them people on y'all team. Maybe I got too many damn white people working up in there, which was kind of the complaint of the Drag Race girls, that there was a lack of Latin girls who were winning on the show. But last time I checked, we've had some Latina girl, one Latin girl got it, but I guess a lot of people don't realize that she is. Ginger Minge is of Latin descent. She has a Latin background, and she ended up winning All Stars 11, no 10. We didn't get 11 yet. So they said the news comes one day after the finale of the first season of Drag Race Philippines Slajon Royale, which was the first season to feature an all-star cast of queens exclusively of Asian heritage from across different Drag Race franchises. Drag Race Philippines Slajon Royale proved to be a big hit for WoW, with the first episode becoming the most watched premiere episode from across all Drag Race franchises on the WoW streaming app, WoW Presents Plus. The host and cast of the first season of Drag Race Mexico Latino Royale is yet to be announced, though Drag Race France star Lolita Banana and Queen of the Universe winner Tyga Brava are the current Drag Race Mexico co-hosts. Yeah, can y'all bring Valentina back? I kind of miss her. Maybe the fact what the matter was they hated the fact that she wasn't speaking that good Spanish, so that's probably why they got rid of her. But then they said Nina Flowers. which I don't think she'll come back because Nina's busy DJing around the world. Jada Sophia, Alexis Mateo, Jessica Wilde, Del Rio, Cynthia Lee, Cuckoo Fontaine, and recent All Stars winner Ginger Minj are all from a Latin background. Don't forget Roxy Andrews because she get mad if you don't acknowledge the fact that she is of Latin descent as well. Because she was, remember, it wasn't that long ago. She was on Roscoe's bitching about the fact that the lack of a Latin winner. Even though, like I just said, we have a Latin winner of Drag Race All Stars, and that's Ginger Minj. But I guess they feel like if you don't run around with your Puerto Rican flag and you're not saying Eshabalande and you're not doing all the isms, then you're not Latin enough. I don't know if that's what there's like a litmus test of how Latin you can be in these situations. But nevertheless, a Latin queen won. Not the one that y'all wanted, which was George's. Although I've had my conversation about that, and I know Georges did comment on my last video that I did about the whole thing, but I think that what may have hurt her was that she aligned herself with messy ass mistress, and that little shady thing they did during their bracket may have hurt her in so many ways. So, and then, but then again, they said that the show was kind of conditioned for Ginger to win anyway. So now, Drag Race Mexico, Latina Royale is set to debut on WoW Presents Plus in 2026. WoW will release a series entitled Drag Race Mexico Rewind in December of this year, featuring highlights of the first 2 seasons of the Mexican spin-off show. Drag Race Mexico has also featured a total of 24 queens across 2 seasons, including winners Christian Peralta and Lexa Fox, the Global All-Stars favorite Galavaro. They also said that the World All Stars franchise with Drag Race Down Under versus the World set to air in 2026. There was also rumors going around because I said this earlier in passing, but since I can actually bring this up in the conversation. It was mentioned that Drag Race, well, the Drag Race Down Under versus the World, I believe is filming in Portugal because they said like they was doing with Colombia. It is cheaper to film in Portugal. So that's why they actually have a studio down there, and that's what they've been filming. So in addition to the Latina series, WoW has recently announced the latest in its Versus the World All Stars franchise. Like I mentioned, with Drag Race Down Under versus the World set to air in 2026, it follows on from Drag Race UK versus the World and Canada Drag Race versus the World, both of which have had 2 seasons so far. Also, Michelle Visage is going to be back to host Drag Race Down Under versus the World. So, because and then they also said that she was giving it away because um she was posting videos and stuff in her stories of her in Portugal. So that's why they felt like they gave it away, that they're currently filming it there instead of down under. Or where were they filming it before? New Zealand? I guess also New Zealand is kind of far. So maybe Portugal is a shorter trip. Oh yeah, and then also Drag Race Philippines has been officially greenlit for season 4. So they also mentioned that in this as well. So Drag Race Mexico El Recuento, a recap of the first was a recap of the first 2 seasons of the Mexican spinoff premiering in December 2025. So that should be interesting. Mortal One is still stepping their pussy up, and I do wonder, like, if it does come down, because remember there was also a rumor going around that they believe that Drag Race might get chopped because of what's going on with this current administration and them cracking down on the drag queens and this and the other. I do kind of wonder if they'll pull something where World of Wonder be like, okay, well, if MTV no longer wants to foot the bill regarding Drag Race, will World of Wonder just be like, we'll put the show straight to the World of Wonder streaming service and foot the bill there? And have some sponsors or whatever come in to help keep the show afloat. Do they still need MTV to get the show doing what it's doing? Because Drag Race is such a powerhouse. This show could still go on forever. So that's the latest on this story. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them. Now, this does make me wonder before I close out of this. Now, does this mean that it's only going to be people from Latin shows that are going to be on the show? Or are we going to see Drag Race girls from the American version who are going to be on this show? And is it a requirement that you have to speak Spanish to get on there? Because there are some Latin queens, but they Spanish ain't all that great. Like, I don't know. I'd have to find out. Could Miss Vanjie do the show? I mean, she could do the show, but do she speak good Spanish? So I do wonder, like, in that whole situation, or I could definitely see Alexis Mateo trying out again and doing the show, or Jada Sophia, or even Roxy Andrews. But I don't even know if Roxy Andrews speaks good Spanish. So these are questions that I have that I'm curious about, like what is the whole makeup of this show? So I'm definitely curious. I'll be watching, like I watch all the other drag race shows. So I definitely want to hear from my drag race aficionados and my drag race lovers and my drag race fans. What do you think of all of this? Whatever your thoughts are on this story, let me know in the comments down below. Then what I should have did was see what the people were saying in the comments regarding um of this whole thing. I think there's some people in there that's going back and forth, so never mind. But anyway, let's see what y'all are saying in the comments. I'm guessing Alexa Mateo, Jada, and Jessica Wilde will be on it. Yeah, I could definitely see that. And but I mean, I was thinking, I was like, could Naysha Lopez do it? But at this point, I was like, probably not. I don't think producers like Naysha all that much because they be feeling like she talked too much, especially regarding the show. They kind of look at her as the Puerto Rican Willem. But my thing is, if you've been on the show and you want to give people a platform to speak out about things that's going on the show, why you get mad at them? They probably wouldn't use Slay Tina because of Alaska. Well, it kind of makes me wonder: does she own the rights to that? I really want Jordan to win a main series All Stars, but she'll probably do this. Mateo would be the first fifth timer if she did the franchise. Yeah, I would definitely be interested in checking this out. Jessica Wilde was called for All Stars 10, but didn't want to do it. Yeah, because she said she didn't understand the format. And um, well, Jessica Wilde, you said you would want her to be on an all winner circle. She's never won though. And you said, I'm sure you have to speak Spanish to be on the cast. So the Latina American queens, España, Mexico, and probably some Brazilian queens. I'll probably be more excited once I see who gets cast. Yeah, that's another thing too. I'll be looking forward to seeing who gets cast on the show. So I think it is, if you're doing Mexico, it's definitely gonna have to be a requirement. But my thing is this: why couldn't they just do a regular season of Latina queens where they don't have to speak Spanish? I'm not saying that being speaking Spanish is a bad thing, but it just kind of feels like it's playing into that stereotype that a lot of the Latin girls would get mad about with Drag Race and how they would handle a lot of the Latin girls. But maybe they're doing this even more because of it's a kind of a middle finger to this current administration who have been cracking down and harassing a lot of the Mexican community, Latin community in general, but mostly they've kind of been picking at the Mexican community because apparently a lot of these racists think all Latin people are Mexican. They don't think that you could be Colombian, Honduran, Brazilian, Philippine people. There's also some Latin up in there as well. Also because Spain colonizing. The Spaniards, when you have like so many different, ethnicities, Latin backgrounds. I would love for her to be part of the win. Oh yeah, I read that one. It said they should do an all trans season. I would love to see that too. There's enough girls that have come out as trans. And speaking of which, I heard that Maya Iman LePage talking about, I never said I was trans, bitch. Then why'd you say in your comment, oh, can I be trans or whatever the case is? Why would you put that shit in there if now you're trying to backpedal and say you're not trans? I hate when y'all be posting stuff and then when it blows up, then all of a sudden y'all want to backpedal. And you wonder why you wasn't all that light because you was born in your damn season. And then number two, the only way you was able to stay around was lip syncing for your damn life. But eventually that ran out. hmm But anyway, let's move on into our final topic. And let's talk about Jaira. I can't even say her damn name regular because of that was the way she said it on the show. So Jaira went, from Drag Race UK, recently came out on social media and accused Manchester Pride of not only not paying her, but some of the other performers that performed at Manchester Pride, and said that, amid reports that the company may be set to enter administration. Now, taken to her Instagram story on Tuesday, October 14th, um, Zapanta, which is Zahara Zapanta's name, claimed that she's yet to be paid for her performance at Manchester Pride earlier this year, saying Manchester Pride 2025 took place over the August bank holiday weekend, which was from August 22nd to 25th, with love as the overarching theme of the celebration. Many guests joined celebrations, including Zapanta, who was part of the event's new Mardi Gras edition. Last year, Zabonda told Pink News what she believed to be the biggest misconception about her drag, namely the hard work that goes into her performances. She shared, I think the biggest misconception that people or queens of the audience will have of me is that I'm just a pretty face. But you know what? I can buck the house down. I can perform. I'm sickening, makeup skills down, hair on point. Like I do all of my own hair and for other queens as well. But the drag queen who starred on Drag Race UK season 6 has alleged that she still hasn't been paid for her performance. She wrote on her IG story, which directly tagged the Pride event's handle. It is deeply disappointing to share that Manchester Pride has failed to pay me, along with many other artists who perform at the events. Despite charging the general public an extricate amount for tickets, our repeated emails and requests regarding outstanding payments have been ignored. The post concluded, we believe that artists deserve fair and timely compensation for their work and contributions to the Pride celebrations. Now, today, which is October 16th, Attitude has reported that Manchester Pride may be set to enter administration as other performers also claim their owed thousands. Sources told Manchester outlet The Mill that charity has spent recent months seeking new funding streams, but has been unable to secure the money needed to remain solvent. Two people familiar with the situation said charity is now expected to begin formal administration proceedings. Public accounts show that Manchester Pride Limited posted a 467 1,000 pound loss in 2023. The figures left it with negative funds of 356,000 pounds. Accounts for 2024 are not yet due, but notes in the 2023 filing seen by Attitude reveal that trustees have expressed concern and the board had made appropriate inquiries into whether Manchester Pride Limited was still a going concern. So it looks like they're bleeding money. They don't have the funds to be able to pay the artists, and they talking about they've entered administration. So if there's no way for them to pay you because they ain't got no coin, then what do you do? I was kind of trying to look for this. I'm trying to remember where I saw this other article. I also heard a story that was going around that um there's a lot of Zionists that work with this administration or this with Manchester Pride. They've been very pro-Zionist. They've been very pro-Israel, anti-Palestine. And I remember hearing stories like everybody from Bimini to a bunch of other queens have decided to protest Manchester Pride due to their ongoing Zionism. So that also could be the reason why they're bleeding from. I mean, that they don't have the money because a lot of people are protesting them. And I think at this point, if a lot of these people are look, these people should be getting paid if they're gonna get up there and they're gonna work. Now you can't be up in here hiring people, giving them promises, thinking that this money is gonna be coming in and it doesn't, and now you sitting there dodging people calls and you're not gonna pay people for their time and you using them. It's like, I'm not doing this shit for free. You know how much these wigs and these outfits and all this other shit cost, the time I gotta take to I guess I mean I don't know. I didn't see the performances, but I'm sure that Zahira probably had some backup dancers, had to do a full-on production. All of that is coming out of my pocket. And I'm hoping to recoup some of that with the money I'm gonna make. And now I can't pay. Not only I didn't get paid, but the people that I had as a part of the situation didn't get paid. The management didn't get their piece. The people that I had to put the show together didn't get their piece. So now what? Now I'm stuck in a conundrum. So if y'all don't have the wherewithal to be paying these artists, then y'all shouldn't be going around having these type of events. So, and then I guess because in these dire times that we're in, that could be a struggle as well. Because I've heard that the UK is going through a mess similar to, I guess, what we got going over here with our idiot administration. So I'll definitely keep you guys abreast of this story as it develops. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. All right. So Let's see. All right, y'all. It looks like we're at the end of the show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you have not already, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for kicking with me in the comments. Thank you for everybody who's been coming in and out of the show and who have stuck through the whole 3.5 hour show, and those who are going to come in and watch the playback once the show was done. So yeah, love you all for watching. I won't be on, of course, tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm gonna be busy this weekend. So have a great weekend. I gotta check my schedule because I think I might be working Monday as well. If anything, I'll probably try to squeeze in a weekend show if I can. But even though I'm gonna be busy. But and yeah, I definitely because I got Tate McRae on Saturday. So and then yeah, it's a lot going on. The Knicks preseason's about to end, the regular season about to start up. The Rangers already playing, losing every time they're at home. I should be laughing at that, but yeah. So yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, ciao, darlings.